smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
And so the Bears are sending their compensatory fourth-round pick to Jacksonville for Nick Foles.
Keeping it 100.
I know we need to run the ball more. I'm not an idiot.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Open competition.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Chicago Bears select Cole Kmet.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. The dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man at Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keeping it 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the freaking anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shayne's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shayne got some haters. But now they're moused up like the true and now and laters. Debaters, stars get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. We're down, boys got you double checking. Sad sack strolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shayne. 100's what we do when we're breaking down the Bears. Fuck a play or a captain, all of the upstairs. The tape never lies, the truth you see. We lie, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a sad nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like Max Sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100. Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
This is Paige DeMacco, CEO of the Draft Network and queen of Chicago sports media. You're listening to my guys Shayne and Phil on the Tape Never Lies Network, and that's because the Draft Network also agrees the tape never lies, so you better watch the tape.
The following show is for mature audiences only. Shy City Sports.
Never find your identity.
Big plays are nice. They're good. We need more of those.
Quarterback.
They're collaborating on it, Paige, as we're talking. They're listening
I think, listen, I think I understand the want to get that done.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I totally get it. And I would never, honestly, I would not fault the Bears for giving up every single thing they can to try and get Deshaun Watson. The problem is, to me, they want more than a pick. They want a quarterback back in the deal that they can sell to the franchise so they're not going to lose out. Because you have to think about it this way, guys. It's not just about football. It's also about team optics.
What's up, guys?
I'll tell you what's not going to pitch the fan base. Roquan Smith and Jalen Johnson. Tua moves the needle. Brian Flores would do this because Tua wasn't necessarily his guy.
Mentioned it. Oh, okay. Nothing.
I don't think that the Bears are going to be able to match what other organizations, Miami and New York, are going to be able to match. Now, if they say we're not doing anything with the AFC, which I do not think is going to happen, the Bears should enter the chat, right? I think the Bears should try no matter what.
Collaborate.
And I do think that, they're going to do something desperate.
McLovin? McLovin? What kind of a stupid name is that, Fogel? What, are you trying to be an Irish R&B singer?
Because their ass is on the line, and they know that. and we'll see what it looks like, and if they, I didn't ever think they'd pull off the Khalil Mack trade either. So
that's what I always bring up. That was my point, but you stole it, so I'm not going to throw it at you.
Collaborate.
Bruce Arians, you're right there. You're right there. That's a football guy. Deshaun Watson, you're right there. How do you get that wrong? Why are these guys still here?
But when you can collaborate,
I don't know.
That's what it just
I don't know.
drives
They
me
don't.
insane.
I think we do. We just don't have football guys, right?
don't.
We don't have.
Right.
We don't have like Ted Phillips is not a football guy,
and we have exactly the right football culture.
right? Like you hear him talking, it makes me sick to like my stomach turns, right? Like every time he opens his mouth.
Oh fuck! Oh my god! Oh shit!
It's almost like they wanted to piss us off during that press conference. Like, I just want to know, like, do you guys have any training at all? Like, it's like, is this your first time in front of a mic? Like, you legitimately wanted to piss off your entire city, your entire fan base? Well done. Good job.
Ryan and Matt are men of character.
It's not the players' fault. These are they're doing their jobs. They're showing up. It's the front office. It always has. They've made multiple mistakes. I'm 31 years old. They have never made a good decision. Guys, 2021, it's a different version of football. And we're going to run the ball and play defense. It's not going to hold up anymore, guys. We need to be able to score points. You have to. It's a new league. And we're trying to live in 1985. And it's not coming back. It's just not.
Bye-bye, Green Bay.
He's uncertain about his future and that he is very thankful for this season. I think we may have just seen the last of him in green and gold.
Not all the decisions may be the right ones, but when you can collaborate,
that's tough.
And trust each other, and you have the ability to challenge each other and come out united, you stand a better chance to make more right decisions than wrong ones.
You're a liar.
Really tough.
Both Ryan and Matt were instrumental in holding the team together.
You don't think you're lucky to get a Brett Favre.
There, obviously, as you know, every year there's ways to create cap space. And those are all important decisions that we have to make.
No shit, Sherlock.
You never think that's going to be duplicated. And then you're going to get an Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know. I really don't. There's a lot of unknowns going into this offseason now. And I'm going to have to take some time away for sure and clear my head and just kind of see what's going on with everything.
Bye-bye, Green Bay.
But it's pretty tough right now, especially thinking about the guys that may or may not be here next year. There's always change. That's the only constant in this business. It's really tough to get to this point. Really, really tough. And that makes the finality of it all kind of hit you like a ton of bricks. That's why it's a gutting feeling in your stomach.
I painted my nails and you told me to put the sparkles underneath.
Ryan and Matt are men of character. They are both, like Ted, outstanding leaders.
gotta say about the Fudge Packers now? I'm a Bears fan now. Hell yeah!
Just the uncertainty is tough. And
Sparkles! I told you not to do the sparkles and you told me to do it. This is pretty. I don't care about pretty. I wanted the Packers to win the Super Bowl, Megan. Oh my god. And I wore my Clay Matthews jersey and I said, let me wear my Aaron Rodgers jersey. You said no.
Bye-bye, Green Bay.
Hey, boys, you guys are learning right. Love it. Don't ever lose that passion, drive, enthusiasm for the rivalry. Never, ever do we cheer for Green Bay. Ever. See you guys.
This game of football is determined by determination, pride, and the love of the game.
The tape never lies.
Tape never lies.
The tape never lies.
Tape never lies.
The tape never lies.
Kicking on true.
Never does.
Yo, the tape never lies and never does. It makes the story true for us. Analytics make them look like fools. It's up to me to educate you. Draft Dr. Phil. Kicking on true. The tape never lies and never does. Yeah. Draft Dr. Phil.
Rivalry's about. I mean, if you can't understand the reality of that, that's up to this show to teach you. If I have to step up into the pocket and teach you, you never cheer. Your division means shit at the end of the day. It doesn't go down, hey, we got a good division. It's just Joe's. No. You want to win. You don't want anybody in your division to get superiority. Look at the fucking Bills, the Jets. Look at Dolphins. You think they love, hey, we got a great contender in our division. There's been a dynasty. No, they don't. They want to win. That's what this fucking game is about. It's about winning. So when I see these quote unquote fucking moronic Bears fans saying, I'm torn. Tom Brady, I can't. Fuck! I don't give a fuck if it's your worst enemy out there and he's playing the Packers. You're cheering for your worst enemy. The enemy of my friend. That's how the reality of that situation is. And thank you, David Kaplan, for reaching out and sending me that video to my sons, because I'm teaching my sons right. This is where you learn drive. This is where you learn not to loaf. You put it all on the line. And you have questions about collaboration and all the bullshit that listen, every fucking troll that intro is so long. I saw someone, I was waiting for a big intro. Well, you got it, because it's going to just keep being that way, because that's what we do here, Shayne. We're always fucking doing creative things. Another awesome opening. Thank you.
How many comments am I going to have to reply to tomorrow morning?
Well, it's usually like 3 or 4.
Yeah, love the show. They always start off the same way. Love you guys. Love the channel. Everything you do. That intro, it's way too long. Oh my god!
Listen, fast forward is not a fucking millennial thing. We used to have that with the fucking VCR, the VHS tape. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I can fast forward through the commercials after I've taped it. Every Bears game that I used to tape. It just listen.
Yeah. You gotta love the Bear fans everywhere. Phil, how about when we went out to Barcelona the other night? I mean, our waiter was a Bear fan.
Dinner. I took Claudio out to dinner. Our waiter's a Bears fan. Then I bump into a kid, Ben. Maybe he's watching the show tonight.
He said he was going to watch.
What was the waiter's name? Dan, right? Dan?
Angelo.
Dan. Wasn't Angelo. Dan, a Bears fan. There's Bears fans worldwide. I've said this to you.
Bears fan Dan.
Some people are, you live in Chicago. Shayne and I'm from Connecticut. He's from upstate New York. Claudio's from Connecticut. Lawrence, the voice, is from Illinois. Cars is from Illinois. The Sandlins are from Indiana, not the region. And then you got Ace. He's in Illinois. So our network branches out everywhere. And Cool Kennedy's from Illinois. So the music, my sidekick here, that's going to be producing some music. I'm excited. We're double teaming on this track. I was hoping it was going to be ready for tonight, but I had to go back and do a couple ad-lib lyrics, Shayne. Not that you care, but you did find out how difficult recording music.
Oh my God. You gave me the worst fucking song ever. That was at the former network.
We're going to give you a better song.
I'll tear shit up. I'm not that stuff doesn't bother me at all. You guys gave me the worst fucking song ever.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you some original lyrics and let's get you rapping a couple bars.
Dude, I met this fucking mall cop.
You got Berlissimo in England. He's in the house. Look at him staying up late. You got Thunder Girl. She's in Illinois. Yeah, let me know where you're at. Look at Noel.
Did you notice when Phil was telling everybody where everybody's from? He's like, yeah, from Illinois, you're from Connecticut. This guy's from Indiana. This guy's from California. It's from Texas. Shayne's from upstate New York. Every single time you tell people, I'll say New York, you're from upstate. You're from upstate New York. Every fucking I'm from Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. You're from
upstate middle Connecticut. You're upstate. You're
Brazil.
I'm in New York. You can be in the fucking southeast corner of Connecticut.
Look, I love this. We never did this before.
I know. This is awesome.
Claudio is hopefully doing his job and starting to fucking select something. There you go, Mach. Nebraska, we need you.
Facebook user. Listen,
StreamYard.
This is this new thing that we're doing here.
We've never told anybody. Never had. Go ahead, Shayne. Tell them what you gotta do.
StreamYard.com/Facebook
sucks.
And accept the terms so we can see who you are in Nebraska.
Right there on the bottom banner. StreamYard.com. Then we'll see your name.
There's another one, but yeah, but is from
like big butts, and I cannot lie.
Yeah, but
Richard
is from
Gordon,
Eastern Pennsylvania. But is from.
I didn't know there was a Manhattan, Illinois. Manhattan, Illinois. Look at that. This Rick Riggs is from Indiana. The region? From the region?
Facebook user.
Wyoming.
Wow.
Checking in Wyoming. See, when I say this stuff on the show and people are like, oh, yeah, worldwide. Big O, patron numero uno. Perfect for Big O. From Illinois, moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. Bears fans around the world. Every time we've gone on vacations, I always bring my Bears gear, you know? So, Vancouver, Canada.
Canucks. I'm a Canuck fan.
He's a Canuck fan. Look at this. I went to Cancun. I found
a buddy EJ Jones from Florida. I was going through my followers. It looks like EJ must have had a tough day on Twitter. EJ, put that in the chat. If I think you probably know what I'm talking about. Said that. I'm like, why did EJ unfollow me? And it says, oh no, EJ got suspended.
EJ was throwing body blows.
Yeah, that's why we love.
Here we
him.
go.
Green Bay.
I don't know if he's lying, but
maybe I think he might be telling the truth. People are from all over the world listening to this network. I tell people all the time, it's amazing. It is, and it's humbling at the same time. Obviously, listen, we do things differently. I will not ever conform to what people tell me. If that was the case, Lauren Cox would have told us that we can't do a 3-hour Bears show. And I said, fuck that. We do whatever we want.
3 hours, that'd be nice. Fuck was last on that.
We want to do 45 to an hour, remember? And now look where we are. And then we can go on the list and down the list. Can't do tape. You got to put graphics over it. No, I'm just going to talk it. I'm going to put beats to my film study and entertain the crowd. And look where we are. This is where we do. We keep it 100. So that intro, Shayne, you have Paige DeMacos talking about the quarterback situation. You had her talking about the fucking craziness that is the collaboration, and I can't get past it. It's
There's
like
only one
COVID
way.
virus.
There's only one way to get past it, Phil, and we all know what it is. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it's starting to gain traction. I mean, we saw Jay Glazer. If anybody listened to Hogan Johns today, Adam Hogue spoke on it.
Wait, did you say Jay Glazer? Let's play that clip.
James White asks, where are the Bears positioned in the expected quarterback carousel? They're going to be big players in it. They know they have to. They know that their entire offseason, their future really, hinges on them finding the right guy, finding a quarterback where they don't keep having to have the quarterback carousel. And if you have a guy in there, an offensive guy like Matt Nagy, you want to find somebody you could team up with him for a long time. So, if I'm them, I'm exhausting. Whatever I think my top 3 options are, I'm doing everything I can to get those top 3 options. The first option is Deshaun Watson. That's the guy. Of anything out there, Deshaun Watson would be my top target. I would trade so much for a guy like Deshaun Watson. And then, you have a guy like Matthew Stafford, I think would probably come in after that. But then there's a couple of those draft picks I would be real interested in. I think the Eagles are going to try and make it work with Carson Wentz. So I don't think he's going to be out there per se. But there's going to be a couple other guys, veterans that you're could be a little surprised about that could be had.
There you go.
Yeah, Hogan Johns expounded
I
about
want
it
to say something. I want to say something first. Obviously, people say, well, you guys is in there patting yourselves on the back for 30 minutes. But I got to say this, you got to try the pizza somewhere. Someone's got to tell people about it. And I got to stand up for my boy. He called me a month ago and said the only thing they could do if they stay, this is prior to the fucking presser, and that's Shayne, the smartest man, is do everything in their power to get Deshaun Watson.
That includes that includes overpaying.
That includes spending
no way around
everything.
it.
I go, and I got backed into a fucking corner. This is a true story. I'm not making this shit up. You were on the air. Go back weeks ago when my boy says it. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, you're 100% fucking right. It's the only fucking way they could save their ass. So I said, CYA. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Can you tell all the other fucking blog boys that you heard it here first? Can you tell them all? Because everybody's piling into the fucking
That's Cali Bears. That's the thing. Watson isn't coming here. You have it.
Everybody.
I'm glad
you know.
He must have tested.
Nobody
right.
knows.
Nobody knows.
Lil Mac's not coming.
You're not seeing the point of what we're saying. You have to exhaust every asset in your arsenal to make it happen. You can't sit back and say, "Oh, he's not going to come here, so we're not going to try." No, that's listen. These guys are fighting for their careers. Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy to stay in Chicago.
Absolutely.
There's one move to be made that makes that horrific presser go away. There's one move that makes Ryan Pace and Mitch Trubisky and Mike Glennon and makes that go away. There's one move. It's them doing whatever they can to find out what Houston wants for Deshaun Watson. And I mean, come on. Listen, I love Roquan Smith. Love the player. Love everything about him. Had him ranked as my 3rd overall player, I believe, in that draft in 2018. 3rd overall. So you know that I love him. There's people on Twitter that are saying you can't trade this guy in a package for Deshaun Watson. I would drive Roquan Smith to Houston to drop him off.
Exactly.
If that's,
let's just say this before we get
the package to get it done. Yeah.
To our guests, the most important position in all of sports is football. You see it with the Open. You hear I know Claudio heard the fucking goat noises going off when he's throwing that deep ball before the half. You got to pay attention to my art in the video production end. There's all Easter eggs in there. That's what those Opens are for the real diehard Tape Never Lies fan, because Tape never lies, right, Paige? You heard her. People that know football understand they're going to do everything in their power to course correct what the mistake was made. Whether they're going to do the right thing or not is not what we're saying here. If it was me back at 2017. It was Watson in a layup. I got fucking stoked thinking they're trading up for Watson. But we know what happened. Now they're backed into a corner, like Shayne said. And don't fucking tell me I'm shocked that they didn't get fired. But now I see the hands, the meddling. The meddling isn't in football. It's in the position of power in football. So what are they doing? They've given the keys to the car, the kingdom, to Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy and said, we're going to go with you. You better get it right. If that means they're going to give up 4 first-round picks, I don't fucking know. But I do know this. They're going to do it. They're all in. They're pushing all the chips in. Any reporter telling us different, I'm going to shake my head, just like I did with Paige when she said she thinks Mitch is coming back. I think there's fucking 0.0 chance Mitch is coming back. That's why you saw him get down on bended knee like Boys to Men. He ain't coming back.
I think that was answered before. I mean, they went after Tom Brady. They tried to get Tom Brady to come to Chicago. That tells you what they thought about Mitch staying a Chicago Bear long term.
It's too much. What is too much? There's no limit to where the Bears are, because when they do get their franchise quarterback, they can fucking trot the presser out. They can fucking totally tell you we're in it. They even can add more time. You feel me? They could say, we got our guy now. We fucked up. They probably will never admit they fucked up.
Where everybody's argument falls apart is when they say, well, you can't give up so much for Deshaun Watson. We need to trade up to the top of the draft for this guy. Well, that's you're going to almost be there. I mean, trading up from 20 is going to be, listen,
a known commodity.
Kansas City went from 27 to 10 and gave up their future first. And I think that there might have been one later pick when they took Mahomes. So you're going to be mortgaging the future, and you're going to be mortgaging the future for a complete unknown. If I'm going to be mortgaging the future, I'm going to mortgage it for a guy like Deshaun Watson. I'm not going to mortgage it for a guy like Trey Lance. I'm not going to mortgage it for a guy like Zach Wilson. No way.
But Shayne, all of the quarterbacks coming out, everybody should know by now, Shayne, me and Cars have never agreed on a quarterback until this year. And it was Mac Jones months ago. We all agree how much we love this kid. I will tell you, I don't look at colleges and past performance of players to define my analysis of a player. I look at the player. That's how you do it. That's how you make good decisions and not fuck up and get Trubisky versus Watson. You look at the fucking tape and you recognize these things are the traits. So when I look at Mac Jones, I love it. That's it. We're going to go into detail about this all offseason, the draft. We got surprises and announcements and all this stuff. But I'm going to say this. Desperation. Backed into a corner. You are going to do everything in your power to right the ship, because you ain't getting another shot. Matt Nagy, you think he's getting another head coaching job if he gets fired? Hell, no fucking way. No way. So all the chips are going in. Speaking of chips coming in, we're getting to our guests here tonight, Shayne. Obviously, we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about a lot of Bears talk coming up with our guy, Chris Emma. And you know him from 670 The Score. You hear him in the pressers. Next up, Chris Emma. Chris Emma's next. But we do it one way, and that's this way, Chris. We bring our guests in the tape never lies way.
Bears fans, we all know how difficult it is to root for this team each and every year, and almost knowing the outcome before the first snap in every season. This guy is here to help with that. Some may know him as a reporter for 670 The Score and 670thescore.com. And some may know him as the guy who asked Robert Quinn what kind of dog he has. Sorry, Chris. Hogan Johns asked us to put that in there. Bears fans, TTNL fans, stand up and let's kick off our off-season coverage the right way. Give it up for Chris, Emma.
Oh, yes. You gotta be fired up tonight. There he is. Chris, Emma. What's going on, big man?
What's up, guys?
Trying to figure this whole collaboration thing out, Chris. You got any? Geez,
Can we collaborate for a little while?
Trying to figure this team out. 101 years and still no direction at this point. It's, I don't know, this rudderless ship. We all invest so much time into this franchise and trying to figure out, it's always next year. Oh, they're going to figure it out next year. They're going to, Ted is going to be pushed to the side next year, and it never happens. We just go round and round and round. But let's hop right into this. Phil and I were just talking about this quarterback carousel. If Chris Emma was to put all his chips in the middle of the table, where do you think that the Bears' move is going to be?
It has to start with the Watson sweepstakes. You have to at least try in earnest. For me, it comes down to you make as big of an offer as you can. You try to match up with what the Jets will be offering and what the Dolphins will be offering. And if you fall short, if you simply don't have the offer that matches them, fine, you move on to what's next. But, look, you put those 3 first-round picks on the table, starting with the 20th overall pick this year. Put Khalil Mack on the table. That's the equalizer, what the Bears can offer that a team like the Jets or Dolphins can't offer. Those two teams can offer a quarterback, which the Bears can't match right now, but Khalil Mack's still a game-changing player. So that ideally is some kind of equalizer where the Texans have to consider that offer even to, the Jets and the Dolphins, assuming they are in those sweepstakes. But the Bears have to be in play for that. You have to be trying to figure out solutions for Matthew Stafford. Bears have never had a 4,000-yard quarterback, and Stafford's done it many times in his career. So
eight times.
That dude's done everything he can for Detroit. He's given everything to that franchise. He's played his ass off. And look, it's not his fault that they haven't been a playoff success. He's done everything he can for them. So it's got to start there. It absolutely has to start there.
I didn't even think of the Khalil Mack trade in there, and you put that in there. Let me ask you this. Is there a potential, and I'm just brainstorming with you, I'm collaborating. Is there an option of J.J. Watt being flopped over with Mack, a first-round pick this year, next year, you trade Mack, you get J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson coming to the Bears?
First of all, I got a headache again hearing the word collaborate on your end. Thanks for that, guys. I appreciate your good editing work with that, bring those memories back. But look, in regards to J.J. Watt, whatever it may be with the Texans, sure, you listen, you engage, you see where it takes you. It's really hard to imagine an offer outside of something completely whacked out where you say no if you're the Bears. You have to be creative. And look, it's a once in, a decade opportunity to get this caliber quarterback. And for the Bears, they've never had a quarterback this good.
Right.
Immediately becomes the best quarterback in franchise history. You have to make that move if you can do it. You have to do everything you can to entice the Texans if they're taking those offers. You have to understand, too, that you're not in an even playing field with the Dolphins and the Jets, who Jets can put Darnold on the table. Dolphins can put Tua on the table. The Bears have to really be creative if they want to be on an equal bargaining table compared to those two teams. So that's where it starts for me. I think the math thing is something you have to consider. And look, the Texans will be saving money even with taking Mack's contract on. After 21, where I think it's 10 and change for Watson that he's owed a big salary, then it really escalates up in the cap room. So even in taking on a guy like Mack for the Texans, they're really not in a bad cap spot at all.
Let me ask you this real quick. Matt Nagy, where's your faith level in this guy? You're around this football team. I hear all the minutia, if you will, that he's really holding this locker room together. And then you saw George and Ted giving you a headache, and all of us fans. We keep it 100 here. Where's your level with this guy, the head coach?
I think I think I'm in the minority here. I don't think he's the lead blame on this. I think there's a lot more things fundamentally flawed with the Bears and the organization. I think he's I might even say a okay or a good coach, maybe, who's got a lot of blind spots that have really come back to bite him. A lot of things that he's not addressed throughout the course of his tenure. And 28-20 is not bad. It's frankly one of the better Bears coaches in terms of historically. Obviously, 8 consecutive seasons is disappointing. He's got to address those blind spots, and the task now becomes much more challenging now without, with this coaching staff really unraveling on Nagy. I think obviously he's been stubborn with the offense. I think is an offensive play caller. Those are the main blind spots. He's had a lot of issues. That goes without saying. We've all seen the games. As a leader, the funny thing is when he was brought in January of 2018, you said this guy, you believed he was an offensive innovator, but you wonder if he could lead a team. Now, after 3 seasons, you're sure he can lead a team, but he's not done anything with this offense. The offense has been anywhere from dysfunctional to a joke at times. So he has to truly take inventory of this and come back this next season with a quarterback who's willing to build a system around, because he spent the last 3 seasons, or really 2.5, trying to fit an offense around Mitchell Trubisky and trying to fit this kid into something that he wasn't, trying to force a square peg into a round hole. And that was the biggest blind spot for Nagy as a play caller, and in turn as a head coach.
Chris, just to go back to Watson a little bit, and one thing, mostly everybody that you talked to, we had Paige Demacos from the Draft Network on last week, and, she mentioned the Bears not having enough and the no trade clause and stuff like that. But one thing that I always go back to in terms of this no trade clause is we see what the AFC is like. Patrick Mahomes isn't going anywhere. All of the young, talented quarterbacks, Josh Allen, I mean, the list is like 8, 9, 10 deep in the AFC. If you're Deshaun Watson and you're looking at that absolutely has to be a factor. You come over to the NFC, and I'm not just saying specifically to Chicago. I'm just saying to any team really in the NFC. Who is there? I mean, you have Kyler Murray that you're worrying about, to get to the Super Bowl. The AFC is so stacked. I think that this no trade clause and Deshaun Watson seeing that, and the market in Chicago. Chris, you're there. Deshaun Watson, the day that he would come to Chicago, he's going to own the city, everything. He's going to own the city. It's going to be Deshaun Watson's world if he's the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and he has excellent shot to get to the Super Bowl, and he's not going up against Patrick Mahomes, in the AFC Championship game, and Josh Allen. How much of that do you think is a factor?
Well, to your point, Shane, I remember after they made the deal for Mac a couple years ago, and the day after, they had billboards all around Chicago with Mac's face on it. I mean, Chicago was ready for it. The Bears were ready to welcome this guy, and that'd be the same for Watson. But I'm going to disagree with you on the point about the AFC quarterbacks, because if you're a competitor like Deshaun Watson and you've been a national championship quarterback, you've taken out a team like Bama, and you've played at the highest level, you want to beat those guys. If anything, I would draw inspiration or motivation from, being on that same stage as Mahomes like he was a year ago in January and ultimately losing that 24-point lead in KC. But
sure,
you want to be beating those guys. So I don't know if that'd be a factor. I think there's a lot of other things that come into play. And, it's funny, all the conversations, we've had here already and all around I've done with my colleagues about what would that trade look like if they were to make that move. It still doesn't matter if Watson says no. And
right.
To know where his headspace is with the Bears. Like, they're in this situation because they passed on him in 2017. And he knows that. He's well aware of that. He knows the Bears' struggles since that fateful night of the draft. And look, I think there's a lot of lucrative parts of playing quarterback in Chicago, but I also realize that he might hold that grudge. This is a guy who's really, really ticked off with his team's ownership and management in Houston. And I don't know if he'd be willing to leave that necessarily to come to Chicago at a place where they have their own mess in ownership.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I just go,
you still have Tom Brady and you have Aaron Rodgers here too, where that could be the knockout punch where he could say, I'm the lead dog now.
Yeah, you're talking about a 43-year-old and a 36-year-old. I mean, they're going to be around. I understand it, but
this motherfucker hasn't stopped.
I get the competitive part of it, but I mean, you look at, I know this isn't the NBA, but you look at LeBron, you get to kind of pick and choose, and you can still be competitive and still take the easiest path. I mean, it's going to be a rocky road in the AFC for anybody that wants to get past Mahomes and the talent that's over there quarterback wise. I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going anywhere, as we know here in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know what he's thinking, what he knows about those. Obviously, Miami is going to be a really enticing option for him. That's a heck of a market to be playing in if you're a quarterback. That's a team that seems like it's got the right pieces around Tua right now, and a really good head coach, really good front office. The Jets, you go to that New York market, play for there. That's ideally would like to see itself on the up and up after a tough 2020. That I don't know. And then obviously the one thing nobody really talks about, but there's always the chance he just makes peace in Houston, and that's that. Maybe whoever they hire as a head coach, all this conversation is for naught. But it's been entertaining because look, this is the perfect opportunity for the Bears. I mean, that night of the draft in 2017, you can erase that. You can't erase the 4 years after that, but you can do that wrong. Ryan Pace can salvage himself for this, and the Bears, after 101 years of really not having that transcendent quarterback, can make it with one big move. It's stable, it's there. So hell, it's something to talk about.
Yeah, I brought up with Paige. I just think that I think you start it with Chicago, and listen, it's going to be a huge package, obviously, to get him here. And she's like, I don't even know if they entertain offers. I think if you go to Houston and you offer up 3 firsts and Roquan and Jalen Johnson, I think they're going to listen to you. You know what I mean? That's going to get your foot in the door. That's young talent and picks, but that's the type of package that you're going to have.
I want to say the Bears are desperate, and that's that's the truth. And I want to push back on you, Chris, because I don't agree at all about Matt Nagy, because you kind of stumbled over yourself in him worried about being the leader, offensive guru, terrible play caller, terrible schemer, terrible offensive coordinator, teacher of fundamentals you came here to be the offensive guy, and he's shown nothing of that. I don't give a shit how you lead a locker room. The proof is in the pudding on Sundays. His record against winning teams says it all. They try to paint this brush. You lost 6 in a row. The one guy you want out of there is the guy that saved your job, Mitch Trubisky. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy that this guy, to me, is still there. Were you shocked that he stayed, or you kind of expected that they were going to stay with this guy?
Well, let me clarify, I guess, before I go into that. I agree with everything you said. I think that's more of what I was trying to get at, frankly, is that, I guess if you want to disregard the leadership aspect, that's fine. I understand. I think that's something that has to be weighed in consideration for his job over 3 years. But yeah, you said it, man. I mean, he was brought in to be an offensive mind, an offensive leader, and his offense has been one of the worst in the league. I mean, this is really the reputation that he carries through 3 years. So, yeah, I understand if you want to, look past a lot of the leadership things. And frankly, it's easy to do after you hear management saying that leading past a 6-game losing streak is something that that's insulting to the fan base.
Yeah,
I'm totally with you, man. I agree that it has to really start with looking at the offense when you're talking about an offensive-minded head coach. He's got it should not be that hard to fix. I mean, you look around the league, and they just need to be average. Like, this defense has been so good over the last 3 years. I did toward the end of the season, but all they had to do was be an average offense, and you're talking about a team that should be a hell of a lot better than 8-8. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I thought after the 6-game losing streak that it was going to be the end for him. That I didn't see them bring the course back. I saw them lose in Minnesota. I saw them before that losing to the Texans. I picked Houston to win that game. I guess I disregarded how bad Houston really was, but I saw them finishing out 1-3, and that was that for Nagy. And I mean, look, it's the season speaks for itself. I mean, they were 8-8. They, if you look at total points, there was 272 to 270, and they were damn near average in everything they did this season. And certainly 1-7 speaks for itself in terms of playing playoff teams. And this team was just average, getting by beating bad teams and losing to good teams. And that's the story of this 2020 season. And nothing changed. And now you're looking at the greater challenge now of how do you improve this offseason when this coaching staff right now is already unraveling on Nagy. The lame duck status is seeping through everything the Bears are trying to do. You're not going to be able to really attract a big-time free agent, number one, because of the cap space, and number two, because I don't know if any of them are really going to want to come here to Chicago. And look, the only alternative and the only way to really build something different for next year is what we just talked about, is making that aggressive that unites the team, that unites everything moving forward and gives them a better chance to win, because this is the one way you can improve things. And it looks right now just completely like the only way.
Chris, do you think that Nagy and Pace are on a short leash with ownership? I mean, Louis Riddick sent out a tweet here a couple of days ago talking about, Ryan Pace and, the whole Watson thing and stuff. And he goes, guys, this isn't just the Ryan Pace show anymore. So he was speaking to Matt Nagy really maybe having some juice or a little more power than, maybe Pace had to give some of that up. Or do you think that these guys are on the end of their leash with ownership? I mean, we know what this ownership group does. Yeah, you'd think so, but
you figure so. But back in December, I think this was after the loss to the Lions. Bears lose their sixth game. I spoke with a good league source who knows the organization well, and he warned me. He said, "Look, Ryan Pace is great at endearing himself and expressing a plan, whether it's a good plan or not, expressing a plan and buying confidence, especially with." This ownership group that doesn't have the kind of football savvy, frankly, to make these bold decisions. And he said Ryan Pace is going to be back because he's going to endear himself. And when I heard that line about the positives of a 6-game losing streak, I know this for a fact, but that spoke to me as what Ryan Pace's spin of this season was, and that being relayed through George McCaskey and Ted Phillips. I don't know what their fate is after 21. Obviously, this offseason is pivotal. We all know that. You can't understate that in any way. But what are they going to do? How are they going to come back any better? I don't know. It's so hard to project what the record's going to be if they bottom out next season or maybe rebound a little bit better. Or hell, they could just go 8-8 again and you come back with the same thing in 22. I don't know. I thought that. I mean, look, Ryan Pace is going on his 7th season. There's only a handful of guys in the NFL who are lead executives in their 7th or more seasons. It just speaks to the Bears' situation and ownership. And the only other lead executive who's never won a playoff game with more than 7 years is Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, who's executive. So maybe Ryan Pace
firing himself.
I don't know. It just speaks to the situation right now. So we don't even know Ryan Pace's contract. It's a mystery. The Bears have kept that private. This is just how they operate.
Embarrassing.
Predict what's going to come of this.
You were there.
Yeah,
you had to feel the energy in the room because you were a part of the questioning. And I know Potash really was pushing back. Hub pushed on the fucking contract. And us fans, and us analysts here on our network just felt such the condescension, such the political white freaking money. We got this. They really came out of it, and they're going to sell this 6-game winning streak, right? Now, everybody's bouncing. Jay Rogers, go down the list. Now we have this new defensive coordinator, Desai. He's a Connecticut boy. That's where I'm from. I actually coached against him. I was the head freshman coach. He was a defensive back at the other team. I slightly remember him. I don't remember. I just remember checking to wherever he was lined up. And we would run that way. But that is a whole other story. Do you know anything about Desai? Because I see a lot of fans really wanting to know anything you have about Desai. And do you feel opposite of what Ted and George were trying to say about this being a lame duck coach?
Well, starting with Sean Desai, I don't know a lot about his defensive philosophy aside from what I've heard secondhand, which is that he believes very similarly to what Vic Fangio ran and more aggressive-minded scheme. Where Chuck Pagano preferred to get those defensive linemen and edge rushers home and call it a day. And Fangio, we saw he got more exotic with the blitzes. Somebody like a Roquan Smith rushing through the middle or bringing nickel off that kind of thing. I think you're going to see a lot more of that of Sean Desai. I think Matt Nagy hired Desai understanding the mistake he made 2 years ago and not recognizing the talent of a guy like a Brandon Staley. And he didn't want to pass up on a guy who he believes in as a young, talented defensive mind. So I think he got the decision right in terms of hiring the guy with the best upside. And Nagy's not looking at this as, I got to save my job at 21. He's thinking long term. I understand that. And obviously, he has to come back in 22 to continue on, but I mean, he doesn't see himself leaving. I think he hopes that Desai is his guy for several years as defensive coordinator. But look, at the same time, I understand if you're Ted Monachino or Mark DeLeon, who both left for lateral positions with other teams, you're probably a little insulted that you got passed up, that somebody who's less tenured than you got this big jump up. And I understand that. Jay Rodgers has been an outstanding defensive line coach for 6 seasons.
Amazing.
Probably a little ticked off that he wasn't the guy being hired as the defensive coordinator. He's going to be taking a lateral move in LA unless they give him some kind of fancy title. He's not going to be D coordinator, not going to be D line coach. So, look, I understand the egos that are in play. It's natural. That's any business. And that's kind of the price to pay by promoting somebody like Desai. And Matt Nagy's not filled any position on his coaching staff aside for D coordinator. So, look, I mean, you're going to have this kind of situation now where the lame duck status of Nagy, that is looming large. Ryan Pace at the same time in a couple months trying to attract free agents, trying to maybe convince somebody like a Deshaun Watson to waive that no trade clause. That lame duck thing, everybody else seems to know it except for George McCaskey.
Chris, we had JJ Stankovitz on here a couple of weeks ago and talking to him, and I asked him the same question I'm going to ask you. After that end of season presser gets over, like when you sign off a Zoom, are you texting your colleagues being like, what the fuck just happened? Like, did this really just happen? I mean, because we were here just as fans and being invested in this team, and I'm like, I was so happy to hear George come out and praise Andre Tucker right off jump, but then he just jumped right into Ted Phillips. I'm like, it's over. It's over. That's all I needed to hear. And then, the collaboration thing. But what were you guys saying behind the scenes? Were you just like, oh my God, this is a train wreck?
Yeah, along those lines. Yeah, it was kind of blown up during and after that. Look, it was borderline insulting to fans. We have to look at it. And McCaskey said later, he did interviews on our station and ESPN 1000 as well, saying, there was not really going to be much good news. He understood the reaction was not going to be great by saying that everybody's coming back. But that wasn't even what the anger was about from fans, right? It was about the messaging and the lack of consideration for the fan base is how I took it. Collaboration. I don't know this for a fact, but that just seems like one of those words that's passed down from, the top PR people of the organization down. It's business speak, right? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, you pass along these business conferences. That's not true messaging or inspiring any confidence. And
oh my God,
anything McCaskey or Phillips could have said that would truly inspire confidence, but they didn't. And like you said, I think I can remember which one he said it, but just condescending way.
Yeah,
it was insulting. It was disrespectful to fans, and it could have been done so much better. They could have come up with some actual reasons for why, and you could have at least bought in a little bit. I mean, you could have not the spin of a 6-game losing streak, but I just thought the messaging was all horrible. And really, after that, you weren't even thinking about Pace or Nagy. That was the funny thing, is that all the talk going was what's going to happen with Pace and Nagy. After that was done, everybody's focus was on McCaskey and Phillips, and Pace was kind of an afterthought. So I understand the frustration. I had so many Bears fans texting me, buddies or people I know blow me up on that, just saying how upset they were with this whole thing. And yeah, the real frustration starts at the very top of the organization, and the lack of belief is going to be there going into the 21 season, and no matter what happens moving forward from there.
You have a head coach that gave up play calling in the middle of a season. You have a 6-game losing streak. You got miss of all misses, because you don't get to number 3 overall, trade up to select your quarterback and still have life left, a pulse left in the NFL, but in Chicago you do. So all these coaches bouncing out and feeling threatened, I'm giving you the big synopsis. What can you tell Bears fans? to believe in. There's no other option, in my opinion, than what you're selling. And all in, just pushing all the chips in to save face and get the franchise quarterback. That's where I'm at. Are you there too?
I think that's the only way to really truly buy confidence is in the middle of March when the new year hits. If they come out of that with Watson or Stafford or Dak Prescott, or there's so many different options, it's going to be a heck of a quarterback class. You come out of there with one of those guys, suddenly you're forgetting about collaboration. You're forgetting about 6-game losing streak, and you're thinking about, okay, how much better can this team be in 21? I mean, that's the only way to buy confidence. And look, we know the Bears are going to be in this matter. You know they're going to be in this carousel, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You just have to get it right. I mean, look, Ryan Pace's record at quarterback is terrible. Mitch Trubisky is his best quarterback pick so far by far.
Yeah.
Mike Glennon.
You look at Foles. Heck, if you want to even go further than that,
Matt Barkley.
That big swing on Carson Wentz and Marcus Mariota. Those are the two guys he tried those bold moves up for before going for Trubisky. So you can add that to his record too. It speaks for how he is scouted and failed in this position. Now, if you get a guy who's established who you know what Watson is, you know what Stafford is, et cetera, you take away the concerns that Ryan Pace is not going to get this one right. You feel good about that. So I think that's the only way you come back for 21 with some semblance of confidence in this team is if you return for next season and enter training camp with one of these top quarterbacks and you take, the Pace mysteries and all that out of the equation and you're less concerned about Nagy's offense and his scheme because you got one of these quarterbacks, you don't worry about that too much.
If we come away with a big-time quarterback, is it going to make us forget about that TV that Potash had hanging from his wall during the Zoom conference?
That was my favorite part of that whole deal. I think all Bears fans got to appreciate the treasure that is Posse. One of my favorites. I love the guy. In fact, I tell him that, and he gets all weirded out. But does
it work? Does the TV still work?
Oh, it's got. I mean, he's a treasure. He's got that little room, and he's done every Zoom conference in there.
Yeah.
I got so many questions about that. He's got a lot of books in there. He's got that 1973 TV, whatever it is, and
he probably took it from Soldier Field. They had those TVs like 5 years ago, right? At the concession stand.
He was by far the biggest winner of that whole thing. Was Mark Potash. It was his day.
Let me ask you: you're around this team. One guy that maybe nobody knows that you feel like is in not only for a big year, but is just a great football guy in that locker room.
This is probably too easy of an answer, but David Montgomery. I mean, look, you finally saw what happens when you actually run the football and you build a back. The stories of his work ethic at Iowa State were legendary. Like uniting midnight workouts with his teammates and just getting guys to buy in the way that he did. And that dude was the ultimate leader in Iowa State, the way that he created this kind of culture that you're still seeing in Iowa State with Matt Campbell. He did an unbelievable job kind of establishing that for that Cyclone program. And that was one of the reasons why the Bears really fell in love with him in that pre-draft process. And this dude's going to keep working and working and working to get better. He's got outstanding drive. And if they commit to a running game, he could be a really special player out of the Bears backfield. And I'll give you one more. It's probably too easy of an answer at this point as well, but Sam Mustipher. He has really solidified that center and that offensive line. And look, you think about where that team was and that O-line was in November where you didn't know who was going to be playing, what you're going to do with that. He brought such a stability, and it's such a credit to him as well as Whitehair and Bars, who are two leaders, two guys who are really smart football players as well. But Mustipher had that trickle-down effect of the communication, the ability to relay calls, and stabilize that interior line. The Bears are probably going to be buyers in the tackle market, but I think you feel really good about the interior right now.
So you're saying your identity is a running game?
Yeah.
I mean, it can't hurt that.
It took
I wasn't brought here to run that formation, Chris. Chris, one of the, another volatile guy on offense that, is people are all over the mark on. We're not big fans here is the left tackle and Charles Leno. PFF is propping him up on a pedestal, calling him top 5. And we're the Tape Never Lies network because that's exactly what we do. And we're watching it. And Phil is is our O-line guru, especially. And where do you stand with Charles Leno? I mean, we had Olin on, and he said you're getting out of him what you paid for. You're not paying him much money, and that's what you should expect. But that shouldn't be good enough. You know what I mean? You can't just keep him because he's cheap and he's doing okay, but that seems to be what's happening. But where do you stand on Charles Leno?
Well, I never would disagree with Olin Kreutz ever, but he really kind of took the words of what I was going to say, is that Leno is he's performing, better than his contract. He's not performing at the level of a top tackle, but I still think the Bears will be players in the tackle market are really looking to draft one at 20, depending on how, obviously quarterback's the big priority. Right. So, if you go through March, you don't get Watson, you don't get Stafford, you're looking to the draft at quarterback. But if you do solidify that quarterback position by March, then you start thinking tackle for April and into the draft. And now the thing there is that, remember back in 2015, Leno jumped in first at right tackle and really struggled. And they moved him to left tackle. That was his more natural position. I don't know if he's going to be able to slide over to right tackle if you draft a top tackle in this class. So you're probably looking at that rookie, if you do draft one, playing right tackle. Leno takes left tackle. Maybe 21's his last year under that, frankly, a team-friendly contract. And you part ways with Massey this offseason. Obviously, the injury history is bad. 31 years old, and I don't think he's going to really show much improvement. So I think you part ways with Massey. Leno remains for 21. You put up with, some up and down play. He's had good moments. He's had some bad moments. I feel like the bad moments seem to be more memorable with him. But all in all, I tend to agree with what Olin said, is that he's kind of worth what you're paying for him.
Big plays are nice.
Yeah, they are. Big plays are very nice, man. I know we don't have you for a long time. How much more time can we get with you, Chris? I'm
all yours. Let's keep it going.
All right. We got some questions, Claudio. Grab them in the chat while I ask him this question, this hard-hitting one. How much would you say, after watching this football team, was the absence of Eddie Goldman an impact on it? Because no one seems to be talking about it except us here. So I want you to speak on that.
You felt it. I think it's unfortunate it had to happen this year, where you really appreciated how great Eddie Goldman is and what he does. I remember this is a couple years ago, talking with Akeem Hicks about, I asked him, it was one of those years where he was snubbed to the Pro Bowl. Are you disappointed? He said, yeah. And this wasn't even an interview. He just straight up said it. He said, yeah, but I'm really disappointed for Eddie. He said, look, nobody appreciates what a nose tackle does. People for the Pro Bowl don't appreciate a nose tackle. Something like Akeem Hicks appreciate what a nose tackle does, because Eddie Goldman's the one who can take on those double teams and create openings for Hicks to get through, or maybe it's Roquan Smith rushing through, or Khalil Mack off the edge. Eddie Goldman does so much for this defense. And I'm just talking about there. That's just a pass rush example. Stuffing the run, he is the cog. The run defense took a step back. It wasn't a significant one, but it was enough where you noticed it. You felt it too much this year. And that's when you really miss Eddie Goldman. I mean, his ability to take on those doubles, create those lanes where you're able to make those plays and hold somebody from, what could be like 8, 9, 10-yard run that you saw this year to 2 or 3, like you saw when Goldman's out there. You felt that more and more this year. And then you think about the Bears, a lot of their issue on defense was not getting off the field on third down. Well, that's because a running back is able to get those extra couple yards on first or second, and you're able to get into third and manageable. Exactly. Eddie Goldman's void was felt so significant this year. And I mean, I assume the Bears are getting him back. I don't know what situation's going to be looking like in 21, but you hope he's okay. You hope he's in a good place, which it sounds like from his teammates and coaches that he was all season. And you'd love to get that guy back in the field.
Got a question here, Shayne, real quick from the chat. Matt Byer, a patron, Shayne.
Yeah.
How do you think the Bears move on from Danny Trevathan?
I don't think you can financially.
You can't. Yeah, not with that contract. I was really surprised with that contract, frankly. And look, I mean, what 3-year deal for a guy? Ryan Pace had not signed a lot of guys over the age of 30 before making that deal. And you tack on those dummy years as well. You kind of complicate things contractually. That was not, like the Jimmy Graham deal where you saw that the details. You said, fine, he's probably going after this year. You saw that Trevathan deal. You said he's probably back for 21. So I think he is. And, Yeah, he played fine. He obviously struggled early in the season. You were really kind of worried about it, but he picked it up a little bit, and Roquan Smith did so much more for that inside linebacking group, that defense. So, Trevathan's going to be back.
Go ahead, Shane. Then we'll get to Dub's question.
Yeah, no, what I wanted to ask you is, Chris, how much different is this secondary going to look? Because there's going to have to be some really, really tough decisions. I mean, Akeem Hicks, Kyle Fuller, it's Eddie Jackson played. He was my biggest disappointment on defense this year. I mean, he got to the point where I wanted him to be pulled off of the field because the guy's not giving any effort on even trying to make a tackle and stuff like that. But what do you think if I say like Kyle Fuller, he's got that big cap number? Do you think I'm more along the lines of trying to extend him out? Because I think when he gets a little bit older, he's a guy that you can move backwards to safety if you need to. But at the same time, he's a guy that I think will have some sort of value in the trade market if they need more assets to go quarterback shopping. What do you think is going to happen with number 23?
Yeah, look, if you have to make some kind of move to be creative with the salary cap room this season or this offseason, which I feel like they might, I think that's probably your best route. I mean, there's still value there. He's still playing at a decent level. It obviously wasn't, like 2018 Kyle Fuller, who was out of this world. But if you have to part with a big contract and try to clear up some space, some extra space, I think that's probably your move. But at the same time, you have to have a lot of faith in those next guys up. And Jalen Johnson played well. I'm worried about the shoulder thing. I mean, coming off, going into a second straight off season with that same shoulder being an issue. It sounds like he avoided surgery from everything we've heard, but lingering. Yeah, those things don't really go away like that. That's something that. So look what Anthony Miller had for the early years of his career, and so you hope he can stay healthy. Vildor played okay. I don't know if you're looking at him as that next guy. Like, I don't know. It's just. The defense takes a big step back if you're parting ways with Kyle Fuller for cap purposes. So as of right now, I don't see the secondary looking completely different aside from, Buster Screen. I don't know, frankly, if he's going to be playing football again, given his concussion history. And even if he's completely healthy and out of the protocol, he's still not coming back given his contract spot. So that's probably the biggest change I see. But you never know. I mean, the Bears could make some really wild and aggressive moves this offseason.
There you go. Is there any resentment towards Mac from the media because he doesn't really talk to you guys enough?
No, I mean, I don't know why he doesn't like to talk because, I mean, he's great. He's like friendly. He's engaging when he does talk. I don't know. I don't understand it. I've asked people with the Bears. They don't really know, but no, there's no resentment. I mean, everybody's ready for him. Like, I wait around when I'm at on that Friday and avoiding that drive-through traffic because I want to hear what he has to talk about. And, it's funny when he's not doing interviews, he'll still talk with reporters in the locker room and great dude, very likable. I just don't know why he doesn't like doing the interviews, but no, there's no resentment.
Let me ask you this. Javon Wims, Anthony Miller, their performance obviously on the field said one thing. Obviously that drop will be embedded in Bears fans forever, but it's the fighting. It's the complete disrespect towards the team. It's been this me first, be you thing that Nagy brought, and these two have been indicative of that since I've watched the tape of these two. Loafing, drops, not running the right routes. Do these two have a place next season? I know George was more disappointing with Anthony Miller, but I'm disappointed in their play as well as the fighting was you're just easily egged into that. What are your thoughts on those two football players?
Yeah, I mean, they're gone. Like, you can't preach culture. You can't talk about this great culture you feel you have and then bring those two guys back because, look, at the Javon Wims thing, I understand. I remember George said on his interview on the other station was that he was upset with Miller because of the way that things went down previously. But Javon Wims was approached on the sidelines on that first matchup by Mike Furry, who said, like 2 plays before, according to Furry, hey, 22, he's going to get in your head. Don't retaliate. Don't retaliate. And what does he do? He goes out and retaliates. When Javon Williams got back to the building, Mike Furry said, "You're lucky to be here." I was surprised they even brought him back for that. But then to the second playoff game, that Wednesday of game week, Matt Nagy held part of their team meeting, 15 minutes of team meeting time to say, hey, here's what 22 is going to do. It's the same thing Mike Furry said, but they presented it with video evidence. They did everything they could to get ready for CJ Gardner-Johnson's antics. This guy is a professional antagonist. He got punched by his own teammate. In fact, so much by Michael Thomas that the Saints suspended him. They suspended their best player, aside from Kamara, on offense because that's how severe they see that incident to be. Gardner-Johnson is great at this, and he still got into the Bears' heads. It says everything you need to know about some of the problems that the Bears had this season. And you can't preach culture and camaraderie and everything and bring those two guys back. They're gone. They got to be gone.
So we have a little bit of breaking news here that Houston Texans are working towards a deal to name David Culley their head coach. So I don't know if that's going to be exactly. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be exactly the thing to keep Deshaun Watson very happy. They said it probably wouldn't matter anyway, but yeah, we'll see. That's interesting.
Wow. Let me ask you this real quick on a piggyback.
Phil, I want to go off. I think I know where you're going to go, but I was going to ask it anyway. Chris, is that talking about Wims and Anthony Miller and that issue? We hear culture, great locker. Doesn't that speak to culture? These guys?
He just said.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. A couple days off that playoff loss, and part of that being the incident with Miller and Gardner-Johnson. When you hear George McCaskey and Ted Phillips talk about culture, that's the follow-up. I believe it was followed up on in that press conference, was asking about incidents like that. And those are incidents. Like, if it happens twice against the same guy, you have to look at that being more than just, some in-game heat of the moment thing. And that's, you're going against your coaches, going against what they preached to you. They were warned in both incidents, like right before in the case of Wims and days before in a team meeting from Anthony Miller, they were warned of it. So it's got to be a reflection of culture. Now, I do agree they do have they have good guys in that locker room. There's not a lot of guys, you feel you're truly better off without in terms of personality and, those locker room cancers, if you will. And they got good guys in there, but you can't have players who are going against the coach's request, demands, whatever you want to call it in cases like these.
Let me say this real quick, and then I want to ask you about Mitch question, and then we'll get to the tribe, and then we'll kind of wrap you up because I don't want to keep you too long. But your breaking news tonight, and I want to point this out to the fans. If Furry went over to him and talked to him as his position coach prior to the fucking embarrassment that was, pulling the thing, sucker punch, back up, raising your hands, celebrating, completely insanity. And he went and did that, and they still kept this freaking guy on here. The coach, the position coach, having that conversation, he should be. It's a travesty. I honestly have goosebumps when you said it, because I know me, the coach. If I sent my position coach to talk to the guy and he still went out there and did it, that's even freaking worse than anything I could ever even think of. Again, Miller and him, I mean, they both did something that's so against culture. I just wanted to point that out. You broke news tonight because I've never heard that Furry warned him before that fight and that huge incident happened. So I wanted to say that. I want to ask you this, just because I know the answer, but our fans, is there any chance you could see Mitch Trubisky coming back to the Bears next year?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it would have to be a case, theoretically, where you have franchise tag him, and obviously they're not going to do that financially. It doesn't make any sense. If it's simply, I'm just using it as a hypothetical, if it's simply Mitch has to agree to a deal, I don't think he wants to be back. Okay? Look, he did everything he could to represent himself really well personally over 4 years and handled things. He was put in a tough spot. He's remember being booted that Bulls game when he's drafted. And I mean, it seemed like from early, the setup in 17, adjusting to a new staff in year 2. I'm not making excuses for him. He underperformed being the number 2 overall pick, and that's something he's got to live by. And he can get away from that stigma if he goes to another team. I think Mitch wants to be gone. And like, I don't think it's any ill will towards Chicago or the Bears organization, but I think he wants a fresh start. And God bless him. Go get that. Like, it's not going to get any better for a second contract and fifth year for him and fourth year with Nagy in Chicago. Like, it's just, I think he's better off it unless there's some crazy scenario. You never know with the Bears, especially the
you imagine.
Unless there's some crazy scenario where Mitch is forced back without any saying that. If it's something where the Bears offer him a deal and he's got, unless it blows him away, if he's got a similar deal, which he will in the open market, I think he's going to take that deal instead.
Well, Greg Braggs will be happy if he comes
back. That's my guy. As long as Braggs is happy, I'm happy.
Yeah. That's for all of us, too. If we get negative mumbles on our phones, never mind. This is the Tribe. Do y'all think Desai can get Eddie Jackson back to his playmaking abilities? We'll let you answer that one, Chris.
I think that's an important hire for Eddie Jackson, is bringing in safeties coach, a guy who understands not just the play of safety, but also how the defensive front can create opportunities for him. And we talked about with Desai, one of the big appeals to him is that he's going to try to run this defense the same way that Fangio did, and that means creating pressure, and that means creating opportunities for the defensive backfield. So. I think it's going to be an important hire for Eddie Jackson. I think Sean Desai will have a big impact on him. But there's also what we referenced earlier is that there are times we seem, I don't know if interested is the right word or not, but arm tackles and lapses and too many simple mistakes for him that were just unlike Eddie Jackson. That was concerning and really frustrating if you're a Bears fan to see. So I don't know if there was an injury, something like that we don't know about. I don't know, but they got to get the old Eddie Jackson back. That's for sure.
Shane, you got one more for him, and then I got a favor of him.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So every guest we have on the show, we ask for a station ID before they leave. Can we get one from you? This is Chris Emma, 670 The Score, whatever you want to put in there. And you're watching my guys Phil and Shane on the Tape Never Lies Network.
I'll do just that. Ready? This is Chris.
Okay. Hold on. Let me.
I was early. False
start. I pulled a Leno on my bad. I just want to isolate on you.
You said it, not me.
Go ahead.
This is Chris Emma with 670 The Score. I'm with my guys Shane and Phil on the Tape Never Lies Network, and stay with us here.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Chris, man. Tonight you came in here, you rocked it. I really honestly have been wanting to have you on the show. Greg Braggs texted me. Come on. I go, I think Chris Emma's going to be a home run with these passionate fans. And I honestly say, I keep it 100. That's the name of the show. Great job, Chris, like Adrian Hernandez. Before you came on the show, people were showing up from all over the world, showing where they're from on this crazy, the Tape Never Lies Network. I really pray. We got to have you back on, Chris, because really the energy, I always feel chemistry. We don't have to collaborate. Remember, it was regression.
No collaboration, never.
It was synergy. They have all these go-to words every year, George and fucking Ted. They have these words. I call them Millhouse, Ted Phillips. He's Millhouse. Simpson. But anyway, you were awesome. Thank you so much for your time and really keeping it 100 with us as the show is named.
Boys, it's been fun. We'll do it again, and take care.
Thanks, Chris.
God bless you, man. Thanks so much. Stay safe. COVID safe.
You too, guys.
What a great dude. Chris Emma from The Score. Follow Chris. I should have asked him where to follow. But if you don't know, follow Chris Emma on Twitter. I believe he's very active there, right, Shane?
Yeah.
Chris Emma on Twitter. And then we'll throw it up. Claudio can type it and put it on the scroll. I thought he was great. Got into a lot. I had to push back a little bit about Nagy because I felt like with Page, you're backpedaling within the context of it. But he did a great job course correcting it to showcase. I'm shocked that this is where we are, but I'm with him. I see no fucking other way. There it is. There's his hat. Look at Jeff Burton. Might have to take over for Claudio. Jeff Burton is putting up the Addy. There he is.
I was typing it up as you were talking shit.
Yeah, I didn't say a damn thing, Claude. That was all Phil.
Oh shit!
I'm just giving you some shit, Claude.
That's
You're doing
all right,
a great
dude.
job. There's a lot of people in the chat getting fired up. Let's just
Claude's blocking dudes tonight, left and right.
Dude, we got trolls coming in screaming Mets. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I go, what is that? I saw it
Two
too.
dudes,
I'm like,
two different guys. Block one guy, another guy comes on, does it.
I like how
I
the
don't know.
fans get. I like how the chat gets after the trolls. That's my favorite thing. I think.
Yeah.
When the guys get after the trolls, there's nothing better than that. You gotta on a Keepin It 100. It's like we're having a football Bears conversation. What do you fucking? I just don't understand people in this crazy world. In this crazy world, so many things happen. It's like, like
I don't give a fuck that he smokes weed. They all smoke weed.
Smoke weed every day.
If you just look at the DVOA, Phil, you know that the Bears just aren't good enough. And if you look at the numbers, on play action, you don't even need to run the ball. You just can do play action without running the ball. My name is Cars.
Nerd alert!
our guy was that Greg Bragg talking some smack about our guy. I can't believe it.
Yeah, he's talking a lot of smack on Twitter today.
Oh, he's crazy.
Is he?
Yeah, look at him.
Got it.
There it is.
Hey, y'all, we got the trophy right here. Mitch Trubisky is the winner.
Hey! Good job!
You were already on my one sitcom. Just wasn't sure, but your everlasting hate towards me gave me
Oh, he had to suffer in the green room for that.
If that is Greg being tough guy, why is he so scared whenever he gets on the show to say anything? I just don't get it.
You got it. Listen, you got to know Greg. We've had this battle with him for years. Back from where we came from, Cars, he used to be scared of everybody.
He was
he's having a rough week though. Like if someone really wanted to get him, you take that awful song from the dog shelter, the Sarah McLachlan Eyes of an Angel, and just show a picture of him and then Mitch Trubisky because he's lost his chance at love with Mitch. I know he's devastated over the ring, and I think you could just really do some magic if you combine those two things this week.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
Yeah, that's me. That's as gangster as I get. Absolutely.
Our gangster has come into the building. Look at you. So we had a great conversation here with Chris Emma from The Score talking Bears. And, I hope obviously Cars never watches any interviews. So he's not prepared because he just goes by his own rules. That's what he does, Gregory.
I've got the nightly airing of the grievances before two daughters will go to sleep. I have to hear the full tale of what one has done, and then I've got to hear the full tale of what the other's done.
Don't worry. It gets easier when they're teenagers. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Claudio's been banned from the...
Now picture that with the Sarah McLachlan song right now, right?
That's the picture that got Braggs fired up on Twitter today.
Oh yeah.
Now that's what he was talking about on the phone. I had no idea what that message was until now. So Shayne was given a little Photoshop. I need someone to Photoshop for me. So if you're a Photoshop person other than Shayne,
I'm great at that.
Yeah. Picture.
Yeah,
I want a
let's go with
really
that.
great one, but I don't want to have somebody steal my idea. So I'm not. DM me if you could do it. I know a guy, but he's at an old network, so I need somebody that could do some tricks for me in photoshopping. Someone else gave me a great idea just now in the chat, and I'll give them credit. But anyway, that was great, Shane. You did that with Greg.
Yeah, that was the one that I sent out last night, and he went, full blown meltdown mode.
His feelings were hurt.
Yeah,
A lot
he
of
was
made a
Greg.
whole little video.
A lot of Greg talk there. He made a video.
Actually, I can upload that. He was.
You got that? It was actually.
I know he was talking shit about cars here.
If you just look at the DVOA, Phil, you know that the Bears just aren't good enough. And if you look at the numbers, on play action, you don't even need to run the ball. You just can do play action without running the ball. My name is Cars.
It was cars.
Whenever Greg runs out of words, that's what it is.
Can you tell me what DVOA stands for? That would be the highlight of my
dumbest visual.
That could be a new segment. It could be Greg's dumb tweet of the week, like his own special.
You know damn well he just read a tweet that said something about DVOA, and he's like, "That reminds me of something Cars would say. I'm going to go make a video."
Anyway, listen. Everybody's here to talk
Because we don't
about...
want to, Mike. It's pretty simple.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty simple. I don't want to give any advertisement free. This is the reality of the truth on Keeping It 100. So here we are talking about cover your asses now. So we talked about it with Chris Emma. The more I talked about it, the more I see this culture being such a fucking fraud. And obviously the presser just still is depressing. It is, I don't even have words. It's so disappointing and disheartening and condescending. But this is where we are. There's no other way. I've told everybody. I got some message on one of our pages. If you're a big fan of this show, Keeping It 100. If you want to be a part of that, there's a fan page, Keeping It 100 fan page. It's a private group. I saw someone in there saying, oh, this is that, and the Bears aren't going to. There's no other way now other than to push all their chips in, whether it be Deshaun Watson or Matt Stafford or God knows Aaron Rodgers. I want to get that out of the way. Aaron Rodgers is not off the table. Like, I'm not that guy that says, oh, he's a Packer.
The only way that you can get him is if, for whatever, and I don't think – listen, I think you have a better shot of acquiring Deshaun Watson via trade than you do Matt Stafford or Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
Aaron, dude, they are never in a million years. No, they're – within division like that, it's not going to happen, and they're not going to be released. I understand what you're saying, Phil. If Aaron Rodgers,
I just wanted to get that out of there.
He's got the fucking mentality to be fuck you, Green Bay, fuck you, all the fans. I'm going to go to Chicago, and I'm going to come
Brett
back
Favre
here.
Go to the Jets, and then immediately went to where he wanted to. I could see this motherfucker doing it,
He's under contract for longer than Brett was.
Really?
Yes, he's got 3 more years after this. I believe.
Another team. You could see another team trading him somewhere. If he wants revenge, he's that type of guy. And Shane, you pointed it out vehemently. He's a smart dude. He's saying these things for a reason. I put it in the open. The disappointment after the game.
Listen,
Claudio's boy was getting love. Rex Grossman. Him and fucking Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, these guys are all very, very calculated with what they do. They know that if Deshaun Watson starts following weathermen on Twitter, that it's going to create a firestorm. Aaron Rodgers, where are places that you love to play? Yes, it's because he beats Chicago all the time, but don't think for 1 minute that he didn't put that. I love playing in Soldier Field. I love going there and playing football. They say things like that to
very good
get a fucking message across. That's and we're in prime season for that. I think it was somebody on our Kevin Winston, maybe I think it was on our All Access Facebook page, was talking about how quote unquote scout of a team in the NFL that is in need of a quarterback was putting out a bunch of negativity about Zach Wilson, which, hey, it very well could be true, but he's a quarterback needy team and he's putting that out there. That can 100% be for a reason. You know how it is. Don't believe anything that you hear this time of year unless it's from somebody even if it's from somebody you can completely trust. I mean, this is the NFL. This is lying season, and we know this is a cutthroat league. So when you hear stuff like that, don't run right to Twitter and say, "Oh, look at Zach Wilson's an asshole because his parents are overbearing or whatever." That it's lying season, man. And listen, what I always go back to in all of this quarterback debate, and I see everybody, Zach or Deshaun Watson's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. We heard the same thing with Jay Cutler back in 2009. We heard the same thing with Khalil Mack. Don't say never. Don't say never.
There's always a way. Where there's a will.
Things in the NFL, listen, these guys know stuff before we know it. They knew that there was going to be some upheaval. I mean, Adam Schefter is out here saying that there could be 17 to 18 quarterback changes in the league. 17 to 18. He took the over on that. Think about that. Yeah, I mean, it's a ton. But these guys know that. Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, all of these head coaches and guys in the front office, they know about this. They know what's going on within the league with moves like that. When you have cars, you and I chatted about it. When you see Jay Glazer come out and put on fucking video that the Chicago Bears are going to be a big time factor in the quarterback market, he's not saying that because they need a quarterback. He's saying that because he fucking has heard it from viable people that the Bears listen. If you do, Adam Hogue said it on their podcast that they recorded yesterday and brought out today. Adam Hogue said, "I'm telling you right now, maybe they don't get it done. The Chicago Bears are going to be heavily involved in the Deshaun Watson market." Adam Johns, who broke the Matt Nagy becoming head coach of the Chicago Bears story, don't forget that. Doubled down.
Hawk said it.
Listen, that doesn't mean that they're going to get it done. They're going to be heavily involved.
They were involved in Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Trying to get Tom Brady here.
Fucking word about it until it was done.
Heard nothing. Now
you didn't hear a word about it. And
they're desperation mode, not collaboration. Desperation. Mitch ain't coming back. I'm telling you. There's no fucking way. You heard Emma there.
The offensive line is terrible, and Watson's going to come here and be hurt. We're not going to have any future because we're not going to have any future because we don't have first-round draft picks. Spare me all of that. It's just like when people are writing off and saying it's 100%, it very well could be Miami. I get it if you're Houston and if you believe in Tua and you can get a boatload of picks.
Though.
I get
How
it.
much do they believe in Tua?
That's exactly right, Phil.
That's the fucking fraud thing that people are saying.
You're also looking at all of those draft picks that they're getting and just assuming that.
Let me say this real quick.
That they're going to hit on all of them.
Tua is optics. That's it. They don't know that it's a name that potentially. So if you're putting down Khalil Mack for instance, that's not a name. That's a generational talent.
Thanks, Tony. Tony, I don't know how many fucking times I got to say. Jesus Christ. I know you want to say shit and get noticed, so I'll let you get fucking noticed. Listen,
it's a contrarian point of view, Tony.
It's so fucking stupid. I'm not saying they're going to get it done. I'm saying they're going to be involved. They're going to exhaust.
It's not going to be for lack of effort. Yeah,
exactly.
Let Cars say it. So it's not. The Bears are going to try to get Watson, Tony. We're not saying it's a done deal. They got him. We're saying they're going all in to get him. That's the mission.
That's
Whether
what I
they
always
finish
hate about.
that or they run a tight end sweep at the one is on them now. But we're telling you that's where it's going.
That's not. Jackals got Flores didn't come after Tua, did he? I mean,
No,
he's
he's
first-year coach. They were together.
He was already.
They were
this is
together.
his second year.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, Flores drafted him last year. Flores apparently, I'm just quoting Paige saying there was split in their room. I don't know if it was Flores, but it was about
there's guys that wanted Herbert. Yeah,
Herbert versus Tua. People wanted Herbert. Now, I mean, they could be covering their own ass too, but that's what she said. No pun on Michael Scott there. It was an actual. That's what she said. It actually miraculously came alive on this show, but I don't agree with the Tua. I do think there's worry interdivision. Like AFC, I really believe that happens. You can't say it with Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers and not say it with Watson and Miami. The thing that's the caveat here is the no trade clause that he could waive and decide where he wants to go. If he wants to say, fuck you, Ryan Pace, you fucking passed, you had a chance, you didn't even fucking take me to dinner. You took this motherfucker with a Celica to dinner, not with me.
I know Emma pushed back on my take a little bit, but how can it not be a factor when you're going to be moving? If you move within the AFC and you have a no trade clause, and you see Patrick Mahomes, you see Josh Allen, you see that all of the young talent at quarterback is in the AFC. All of it. All of it. I can't see how that's not a factor. And listen, things change.
Who's his agent? Did we get someone in the chat or Claudio to actually do something tonight and find out?
What do you want to call somebody to find out who his agent is?
Who's Deshaun? It's Google. It's called Google, Claudio. It's brand
I'm on
new.
my phone on the video.
Oh, yeah. Someone in the chat. Who's Deshaun Watson's agent?
Tony, it's not a waste
David-
of a thought. It's not. Whatever, man.
David Cutcliffe?
Enjoy the show.
No, it's David Mulugeta.
Okay,
I've
I don't
actually
know
heard of
Mulugeta. I've never heard of him before. Well, David Mulugeta, if he's doing his job, which he is loving this because it's pushing his client and his talk and just mentioning the kid. I mean, you're hearing how people thank you, Jeff Burton. Cars beat you this time, but I know he is your favorite on this show. But yeah, this is just helping Deshaun Watson. It is also to us on this network saying what a terrible GM Ryan Pace is for actually missing the easiest selection. I thought I thought it was a layup for Deshaun Watson. I thought it was a layup for the fucking left tackle smoking weed. That's where that fucking drop comes from. And look at what a difference this fucking network would have done drafting than Ryan Pace. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. And he's got to correct this. And Shayne, you're right. If no one is more connected than Schefter and Glazer, those two guys, and Ian Rappaport's there too. Lock and Fora, you know what we could think of him. But I'm going to say this: when they go out there and say 18 or 17 plus, and he's betting the over, this is going to be cash thrown around, draft picks thrown around. Because I want to say this for the record, for those like Tony and other people, you can't have a coach and GM that have failed with Mitch now draft another one and they're going to teach him. That's not happening.
It doesn't fit.
You got to win now.
It doesn't fit into any blueprint of your team moving forward because you're going to listen, you got to move up. You got to move up. Are they going to tie their wagon?
I'm going to quote you on that. I'm going to quote you, Dark Soul Quiz.
But you know what I mean? If they're going to invest moving up to go try to get Fields or Wilson or Lance. I mean, Lance is a guy that's got everything that you want at a quarterback, but he's in the same
and
position
everything
as
you
Mitch.
don't want.
Right,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
Mitch. He's a 1-year starter. He played 1 game this year. You know what I mean? And it's and you're gonna tie your wagon to that. And I'm not saying that they're gonna get Deshaun Watson, but that's priority number 1, number 2, number 3 for them. Try. Yeah.
And if you guys saw, right, the Texans have hired a head coach,
65 years old. He is.
Yeah,
Is he? Yes.
Yeah. And it's not the guy
that.
that Watson wanted. They didn't even give Bieniemy a second interview, right? And they made him all these promises that they didn't miss. So he's going to force his way out, and the no trade clause, more than anything, is going to dictate where he goes. He is in complete control, and this latest move is going to accelerate that. But to Phil's point, the main reason that all these teams are going to be moving on from all these quarterbacks is the salary cap this year. The salary cap is, they're even saying now at best case is going to be no more than 185, 190, right? So there will be a decline in the overall cap. And so all these teams, Aaron Rodgers, that team is over by about $25-30 million at that. Detroit is going to be pressing against the cap. All these teams that if,
New Orleans is like 95 million over or some shit like that. Yeah.
So
here's what Roddy White said about Zach Wilson. Real quick, Cars. This was what I know, Mel. He's talking to Mel Kiper. Zach Wilson shouldn't be drafted in the first round because he's Mitch Trubisky, but less athletic. I could put just Fields in a BYU jersey tomorrow with no practice, and he will beat Coastal Carolina. He wasn't bad against Coastal. He sure wasn't good. So that's Roddy White, former, talking about this draft. Wilson's starting to rise. People are talking about him. Someone said he's Manziel without the drug problem. Well, I loved Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, there's a lot of people slotting him at number 2.
Yeah, he is the most popular number 2 pick.
I see him moving up draft boards. But
Fields is falling.
With this stuff going on, like Cars is talking about, the fucking determining factor is going to be the cap with free agency hitting at the combine and everybody going crazy about finding their alignment. And that means who are they going to make their quarterback? A lot of other teams that have hit, Arizona has their young, Buffalo has their young, KC's got their young. This is where the Colts are going to be in the quarterback market now. They got
I think that's where Stafford ends up. That's a
Ballard move. That is a Ballard move.
And why wouldn't it be? I mean, that's a smart move for them.
And then finally have a line to protect him so he wouldn't get hit as much as he does need to get protected after. I mean, he hasn't played a season, I don't think, in a couple of years again. So
yeah, I think that's a.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying if there's a perfect place for him to land, it's Indy.
I mean, I will say this for the record. I really like Matt Stafford. Would I sign him? Yes, I would. I would take Matt Stafford. Want to go around the table? Is there if that's
Wait, you're going to take Stafford over Tyler Bray? Or no, we don't even have him on the contract. Of course.
Well, I was going to pose this question.
Every day.
I was going to pose this question to you guys. With all the guys out there, all the quarterbacks, the higher tier, the lower tier guys that are available, who would you guys want the Bears to go after?
I mean, it's
Watson.
Yeah.
Number 1. It's not even close. That's my guy.
He's 1, 2, 3. And I mean, after that, I think you're going to. Honestly, where do I think that the Bears will go? I think if it's not Watson,
what do you want? He wants to know.
I'm asking you what you guys would do.
Don't worry about the Bears. We fuck them. Don't buy anything Bears. I wanted to say that.
What about Dak? We haven't talked about that.
Why is Dallas going to let him leave for free? That's what I ask everybody.
Well, he's saying they might sign somebody else, and Dak is now free. Is what Claudio.
Yeah.
Why would they? That's not. To me, that's not even
Jerry Jones pulling the trigger. You can't.
I can't. I think he's 100% back in Dallas. I think he's 100% back in Dallas.
With
I don't
18
see
moves.
Hmm?
With 18 moves out there, I don't say Jerry Jones doesn't move on from Dak and find someone else he likes. He's capable of doing that.
Oh,
especially with McCarthy.
I could see him doing something silly for Matt Ryan in Atlanta, right? Like that's
a
type of play.
Don't you think that that's the move if it's a medical situation, if there's red flags on him medically? I mean, aren't you?
I just think he would do that.
Jones is throwing him under the bus. I think it will forever remain ingrained in his head where Jones got up and they were talking about the playoff loss in 2020. And he's like, well, all I know is Tony Romo wins those type of basically Tony Romo wins those games. Well, not in the playoffs, first of all, but he completely threw him under. And that's what started a lot of these problems because everybody thought they were tight. And then he's like, you're going to Romo? All right.
Yeah.
We got Mike Glennon.
We just talked about this here. We have a better to me, I just don't see Detroit dealing with Chicago.
I'm never going to say never.
I just don't see it. I mean, Phil, if Ryan Pace goes there and says we're going to throw you 2 number 1s, I think are you going to give up 2 1s for Matt for a 32-year-old quarterback?
I could see them trading a 1 and a player or a future 3 or something. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take to get him. I could see.
Who do we have that bites kneecaps? Anybody that we have on the team that might bite a kneecap. That might be Javon Wims.
Yeah.
He might have a spot there.
We got 2 receivers we could trade in that.
But I mean, if you can do it for a 1, you're Indy, you're doing that all day long.
Well, I know this. I was told this, and I think a report came out that Matt Stafford is interested in the Bears.
They came up with a list, and Chicago was 4th on his list.
I talked to someone I know, and he's like, Chicago's in his top 2. Like he would want to go there. I don't know what that means. I was actually shocked, but listen, stranger and weirder things have happened. I'm not going to rule Matt Stafford, but if I had to choose, as Jackal is or whoever it was before him was asking, it's Watson.
I just can't see
Watson. I fucking can't believe Pace didn't draft the motherfucker to begin with. Drives me crazy. I always say this, Cars. F the cap.
It's gonna F
this year.
Today, this year, Cars is gonna be sitting there looking at me saying, well.
Look at what the cap did.
Look what the cap's doing. I'm interested to see it.
I would list probably the 5 most likely guys of everybody to come to Chicago. I think Watson is there because I think we would throw a whole bunch of picks. Would everybody agree?
And play, and
they're going all in on Watson.
David Carr or Derek, whatever Carr.
Derek.
I think Derek Carr.
I did that last week. Don't worry.
I think Carr is a very real. It would be in the top 5 group of possibilities of folks to be here. Who else would it be? I think
Darnold.
Yes.
Yeah. Sam Darnold.
We're all on this.
There's a lot of people that don't like Sam Darnold. Phil and I have talked about it. The kid's 24 years old. I think he's still got a lot of upside. Been in a bad situation there in New York. I know he's been, smacked around quite a bit, but fresh start can help there. And I said before, I don't think it's going to happen now with the situation in Philadelphia, but that's still one I think that they're going to monitor to see.
Wentz is another.
Sirianni, yeah. I think Wentz. I think to me, knowing Ryan Pace, knowing Matt Nagy, and Cars, that I've said this for a long time. I always felt like before Watson was, probably still a pipe dream, but somebody that they could at least, throw an offer to. I always thought Carson Wentz was going to be the guy that they
wanted to trade up for him.
Yeah, Mariota.
Is Mariota in that group?
Yeah, he's a free agent.
No, I'm saying for Cars, his group is 5.
I don't think he's no. I think they're going to make the big, and that's why I'm looking at the Wentz was going to be the other. I think Jimmy G would potentially be in the realm of names that they would go after too. Yeah, I think those are the. And a lot of those names I don't like, but I think those are your 5 most likely guys to be the quarterback next season.
Yeah, because I mean, well, you got to look at. If the Jets are in quarterback territory at the top of the draft, that's gonna.
Yes, if they take their quarterback, he becomes a trading piece, right?
Well, it becomes the Rosen situation again. It's a 2 and a 5.
Well, except remember they came into that wanting it. I thought they ended up getting a 3 and a 5 for.
Is that what it was? Oh, I thought it was a 2.
Because they didn't trade him until he was into the second round. So once the pick happened at the quarterback, they're like, your value just went in half. So you kind of watch that and see when someone jumps aboard.
Claudio, you're in charge of the chat. Keep it going.
I'm looking.
I saw his post up there a long time. Angelo was getting pissed off at you. Sent me a text.
Well, guys, there's people in the chat talking about our defense coordinators. Let's talk about that.
Hold on. Let's finish this conversation.
Okay.
1 second.
I
wanted to say this on Wentz. I wanted to push back on you because I feel like Wentz and Peterson, Wentz kind of won that battle with the owner. So Peterson's gone. So I don't know that now he can be that guy that you're going to trade for.
From you guys know my connection with Philly.
Yes.
From what I understand is Howie Roseman and Peterson, were very close because they wanted Howie Roseman didn't have any interest in Doug Peterson not being the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that for 100% fact. He went.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Howie Roseman didn't have any interest in firing Doug Peterson.
Okay, that was more clear.
100%. Lurie and Peterson sat down and talked. The way that I was told was that Roseman and Peterson wanted Jalen Hurts. That's why they drafted him in round 2, which obviously, they saw something there. Mm-hmm. Jeffrey Lurie has been a Carson Wentz guy. He gave them, said, you guys are making the football decisions. You can go with your guy. We don't know how Carson is going to come back from the injuries. Jeff Lurie started to believe in Carson Wentz again, even though they were struggling, because you can say whatever you want about Philadelphia. If you think that the Bears were dealing with injuries, it wasn't anything like Philadelphia was dealing with, especially on their offensive line. Long story short, Lurie decided 100% Carson Wentz was his quarterback. Peterson wasn't happy about it. Roseman wanted Peterson there. Roseman said, well, I need to save my job, so I'm going to agree with the owner. Peterson bounced, and now Wentz is back up on the pedestal. And finance, you can put fuck a cap up there all you want. Finances drives it. They just signed him to an extension where his cap number is like $59.4 million in 21. Wow. Carson Wentz.
Well,
I painted my nails and you told me to put the sparkles on it. And they lost. The Packers were supposed to win the Super Bowl.
Casey.
And they didn't because he told me to put the sparkles on my nails.
I'm sorry.
It was all the sparkles, Cars.
Packers tears are delicious.
It's sad that the best part of this season is that they didn't make the Super Bowl. That is such a depressing place to be.
Let me just say this for the record, because we've had some fans. If you're a fan of the Chicago Bears, you're an enemy to the Packers. That's law. That's the blood.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. So you have every right to take pride and enjoyment in their misery, because they would do the same thing to you, Sparkles. They destroyed you with the double doink. I lived that. That's what being a fan is. And on this network, I don't tolerate cheering for the fucking Packers, Lions, or Vikings at any point unless it's going to only help put you in a position to better your chances at playoffs, Super Bowl, better matchup.
Now, as you know, I am a Lions fan, according to several folks, and I was rooting for them to hire Dan Campbell. I was all in on that move.
You're in deep cover, huh?
I watched a lot of 80s wrestling promos before I watched Dan Campbell get on the stage, and I felt like he brought it up a notch.
People reaching out to me being, now that's a coach. That's the way you set the tone. And I'm like, what are you? Dude, that was so That was so cringeworthy, that press conference. I'm like, they're going to change training camp to a 90-man Royal Rumble, and all this. It's just fucking craziness.
I don't know what that was. It reminds me
of
the
worst press conference since Chicago's. That's the way that I looked at it. Those
let's think of these moments in pressers. Chicago with Ted Phillips, George McCaskey, right? What's his name? Adam Gase Jets presser with the eyeballs. Remember that?
Oh, God, the cocaine boat party pick, yeah.
You just fucking knew this shit ain't fucking gonna go nowhere. And now the Campbell one, when I was sent that clip, because I'm a big...
Do you see his nameplate for his office?
No.
Head coach Dan Campbell / the dude.
Oh my God. Was he fucking bowling? No, wasn't that dude?
He's just going to be on the sideline with white Russians, right? Drinking those out of his.
It was the weirdest thing. I'm a fiery guy. I would never go into my introductory press conference talking about fucking biting the kneecaps and doing like a wrestling.
Even if you dropped in a couple biting kneecaps, it was like a 3-minute. We're gonna bite your kneecaps, and then you're gonna fall down. You're gonna get back up. We're gonna bite your kneecaps again, brother. What are we doing?
If he just ended it with snapping to a Slim Jim, it would have been perfect. It absolutely would have been perfect.
Like what he should do, and we're giving them help here, Cars, but it is worth it on Keeping It 100. Their PR department should fucking get on the phone with Slim Jim tomorrow.
Yes,
and
they should have corporate sponsorship. Yeah,
embrace the bullshit so you could get past it. Otherwise, you got the next Matt Patricia. That shit show is gonna crumble. Are you guys surprised that fucking Bears coordinators are just jumping ship, going to the Lions? Lions.
And listen, I'm going to have a different. I'm going to have a different take on that because I'm not defending the Bears here, but I think this defense needs to be shaken up. I'm not bummed that Jay Rodgers is gone. Mark DeLeon is gone. These guys are gone. I think these fucking guys on defense that are making all the fucking money got fat fucking wallets, got fucking lazy, and I think they need some new fucking blood in there. So I'm not that's the perspective that I'm going to look at it from. They'll get some younger guys in there. I think that's probably going to be the approach that Nagy takes, especially under a guy like Sean Desai. I think that they may even look at Sean Desai and let him call some shots about who he wants, because let's not forget, Matt Nagy has very, very little to do on defense. He's been laser focused on one side of the ball. Maybe
big plays are nice.
A little bit more
side. The most dominant side of our football team has gotten 100% of his attention, and it's awesome.
I think I'm not losing that. I'm not sitting here, you can say whatever you want about Jay Rodgers and being pissed off he's not the defensive coordinator. He's not the defensive coordinator in LA either. He took a fucking lateral move. He did it.
A lot of these dudes took a lateral move, except Ragone. He's the OC now with Atlanta, but the running backs coach lateral. Then you had Jay Rodgers lateral
coach. Actually, that is kind of a promotion in coach place to go from RB to.
He's a quarterback's coach.
Yeah, he's the quarterback's coach.
He was the running back coach. My
was in
bad.
Chicago, but he's the quarterback coach in Atlanta.
No, I thought he was the running back coach there, but now
No. I texted you that. I'm like, so fucked up. And that's the thing,
shit.
Phil. And
that's weird.
I still go back to Sam Acho, who's not the best player in the world, but he's a person that's respected on the field, in the locker room, and even more respected off the field. He never once brought up Jay Rogers.
No, he didn't. Or De Leon. But was De Leon? No, De Leon wasn't there. They had another outside linebacker coach.
Did they? When Sam was there?
Staley was the outside
Staley
linebacker.
was there.
Oh, right. Yep. But
Staley was there.
Things like that to me
Dunn
matter.
What was that other dude? The big dude. He ended up going to the Texans. Remember that big dude with?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Clint Hurdle.
That was his. Yeah, he ended up
his name? Was it
leaving.
Hurdle or something like that? Yeah, I think he went to the Seahawks.
We'll figure it out. He went somewhere else. Yeah, Seahawks.
I'm not upset that the Bears are. Some of these defensive coaches are going because I think that they need. I think that they need a whole different perspective. And guys, listen, this is one more thing that they're painting Sean Desai with this. I can see you having some of the same qualities as Vic Fangio and believing in some of the same concepts.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of times, Phil, in cars that we talked about that we were pissed off of Vic Fangio. Remember the whole picket fence thing, and why isn't he? We ran into a lot. Why isn't he blitzing more? So I'm hoping a guy like Desai is going to take some of Fangio's concepts and maybe be more aggressive with them. And we'll see some of these guys come in under him at these different positions and have that same aggressive mentality. Because if you want to see these turnovers go back up to where, I'm not saying that you're going to get to the 18 level, you have to start to be more aggressive on defense. Or you sitting back is not. Listen, you 3rd and 14. The Bears were giving those up consistently.
Oh
this
my
year
God!
Because they were being passive, and that is not sustainable.
We didn't remember when we asked Paige, Bruce Arians, Pagano, a different guy. She basically spelled it out that Pagano would be different under Bruce than he was in Nagy. That's what concerns me. So, I mean, if Nagy's saying, I want you conservative, I want to bend but don't break because my offense can't score points and I came here to fucking score points.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a coaching mistake as far as
it
I'm
is.
concerned.
It is.
You have
made
the
a lot of
third back there. Yeah.
Real quick. That was made by our guy, Alex Acevedo, sending some real quicks in here. Real quick, before we go to tweets, I want to say this about Desai. I said it on X's with the O's this past Saturday. Me and my father broke down Sam Mustipher. I'm going to put up some of that after tweets, do a little business there, give you a little taste of that.
Happy. Sam Mustipher.
Sam Mustipher, yeah. Broke him down, showed you what he needs to do to improve. Is he ready to be the center? No, he's not. He's got work to do. Does that mean he can't be? Absolutely not. He could be, and he should know that. That's how you keep it 100. He's got a lot of work. So my father and I broke down Sam Mustipher. I'll share a little of that footage, but we talked about Desai. Now, real quick, as I said, Desai is a Connecticut boy, Shelton High School here in Connecticut.
I'm out on him. I'm out on him.
The same high school that Dan Orlovsky, I think they actually played together, I believe. But I will say this about the culture at Shelton High School, the very foundation of where somebody's learning their football roots says a lot to me. And I could speak on that because they were the most notorious, hard-hitting, physical football culture over there. They were so well coached fundamentally, and they had a lot of talent. But I know he came from that coaching tree. So the foundation of where he's coming from, and then learning this guy, when you look at him, he graduated college in 3 years, got his PhD. He was coaching high school. And then on top of that, he was the only guy that survived Mark Trestman, John Fox, and now he's with Nagy. So when Sam Acho's speaking on this guy, I'm interested in seeing what he's going to bring to the table. I know the beginning of his culture, so I just wanted to share that as Claudio brought that to our attention real quick. Like how I did that. A lot of real
like some
quick
Mario
moments.
now.
Yes, that was Mario. A lot of Mario there. Are we ready for tweets, or do we have anything else we wanted to talk about before we do the tweets?
I don't know if you guys saw, but the Texans are looking at Lovie Smith as a potential coach under their new head coach. Yes.
Championship.
And Josh McCown as well. So,
the offensive coordinator. That could be a selling point, I wonder, to Deshaun Watson, Josh McCown. I don't know.
It could. I don't think
guy
the coach
is a great communicator.
Do you think that Culley is?
Culley was with the Eagles and the Ravens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's 65 years old. That tells me that he might be grooming Josh McCown to take over in a couple of years.
100% what happened. Because they were the two. He was in the final candidates, and then the two guys that they were looking at were Culley and Leslie Frazier, both older coaches to do. So I think that's 100% what it is.
Before we real quick again, I gotta do a real quick because this is just keeping it 100. So let me say this.
You can keep on saying keeping it 100 all you want, my guy. It doesn't make it right.
Okay, Peter, this had come up, so I want to, if this is going to ruffle a few Fat Mike's feathers or whoever, listen, race plays a part in this. Here's a guy from the Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy, getting passed over, and somebody like Josh McCown, white player in the league, never coached before, now is getting interviewed for the position. Is that going to be a deterrent for the culture that you've seen McNair? He's said some fucking outlandish racial comments that make me just, I wouldn't want to play for that. I just have no tolerate for race issues, even in my driveway. I just have no tolerance for it. So let me just keep that 100. So what are your thoughts on that? Does that sit bad with like someone like Josh McCown just getting that easy street to opportunity there? Over the enemy.
Yes. To me, yes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't deny the good old boy network, that is alive and well. And, they talked about it. And what did they say? Something like 11 defensive coordinator positions in the NFL were just recycled head coaches that, all right, you're done. Okay, yeah, we'll take you as a DC.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And that's where a guy like Desai is different. And Emma wasn't the only one that brought it up, but I've heard it, a couple of dozen times at this point. I do think that the Bears looked at a guy like Brandon Staley and be like, we had this fucking dude right here. Could have been the fucking guy. We can't make the mistake again. Jay Rodgers has been around for a fucking while. And listen, just because you're a good defensive line coach doesn't mean that you're going to be a good defensive coordinator. That's, I look at this the same way that I look at the draft. There's going to be people in our chat room if the Bears don't get a veteran quarterback and they trade up on draft day and they say they fucking draft Zach Wilson or Fields or Trey Lance, quarterback position's fixed for the next 10 years. It doesn't work that way. We can't give up our future for Deshaun Watson because we need those picks. Doesn't mean you're going to fucking hit on those picks. So there's nothing that's a sure thing. But in terms of, Phil, going back to what you were saying about Josh McCown, totally agree with Cars. there's a fundamental flaw within the NFL. I mean, you can say, you can't deny it at this point. It's a real thing. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say, how many times do we hear it about Josh McCown that dude's going to be a fucking coach someday? You know what I mean? You heard it. And I don't want to make this a racial thing, and it's not. Eric Bieniemy has some fucking pretty bad things in his history that he's dealt with. And I think all of it, along with the NFL having a race issue in head coaching positions and front office positions, I think that's the volatile mix there. And he was at Colorado. That's where he played. He had issues at Colorado. Then he was coaching there and got let go for things that aren't great.
Right.
But,
well, it's honestly, I'm not afraid to keep it 100. I've always stood up for the goddamn truth. Keep it 100. We all make mistakes in our life. I won't make one on race issues.
Jackal said it right there, 100%. And this is what we're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with in Chicago. The fucking cars laid it out for you. The fucking ownership and managership. There's nobody under 80.
Listen, did you
other than George
they passed on Watson because they like this pretty white boy? Come on.
I mean, do you honestly, you even take it a step further? Part of the reason they were so hyped about Brian Urlacher was what he was and looked like. That don't kid yourself. That the generation that they're from, right? Certain areas were still fighting the war, so to speak. So,
I mean, it is what it is. If you're offended by the truth, I mean, you got to take a look in the mirror and recognize your own. We're not talking politics, we're talking about race. I see black, white, whatever. The reality is, I'm going to keep it truthful with you and say, I have had many of people I know in the league tell me there is a complete bias when it comes to the black quarterback, the coach, and so on and so forth. And it's still there. It's still there. And I said it draft night. I ruffled feathers. I said, Mitch Trubisky's a white kid. Chicago Bears passed the fucking layup. The best quarter. I've scouted so many quarterbacks. I'm like, this is the guy. I was celebrating cars. They trading up to get him. This is my guy. Finally. Fucking passed him up. For my 5th ranked quarterback, I forgot that I had Chad Kelly over.
Oh, jeez.
Trubisky. I had Chad Kelly over Trubisky. But, it is what it is. I wanted to ask the question, and that's what this show is. It's always about keeping it 100. I'm not going to back down to these fucking frauds at Halas Hall. Fans, do not purchase anything Bears. Don't. Wait until they get rid of Millhouse. This is a problem. It's an embarrassment to me on a game that should see no race. Now, they hired Henry Burris. He's going to be, he's taking Ragon's
offensive quality.
They didn't even
control.
give him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So he's getting coffee and cutting tape and
he's cutting tape.
Oh, you need shoelaces. Yeah.
Well, he had done this last season, part of an internship program, right? So I mean, they did technically give him the promotion to bring him on, but Phil, kind of to your point, when you look at the coordinator positions and the head coach of the GM positions, it's the NFL recognizes it's so bad. It's trying to give teams draft picks to try to make this happen.
Yeah.
And if you look at where so many of these hires happen, what side of the ball are they hired on? And what position coaches do those position coaches tend to look like, right? Like,
exactly.
It's when offense is the hot thing and you don't see people of color getting any sort of opportunities inside the offensive coaching staff, that it does play in. And I always think back to they showed Eric Bieniemy and people were saying he couldn't interview well. He didn't interview well. Tony Dungy said he's heard the same thing for years. Tampa ended up getting a hell of a coach for a while because they looked past some of those racial stereotypes, right, and gave him the opportunity he deserved.
Exactly.
And they you get rewarded when you make the right decision. And unfortunately, that decision is still too much of a challenge for people.
Now, I can't say I saw my boy Brett Selms from Australia checking in worldwide. Like I said, he's going to boycott the games. I'm not saying that. I'm going to watch the games. I'm going to watch the game. Obviously, I have a job to do for this network. But the reality is I'm asking you not to purchase. You don't have to go to the games. We don't even know if they're going to have fans yet. We don't even know. There's a new strain of COVID that's supposed to be worse. This world is crazy. Let's just add a little bit of honesty to it. Like, look in the fucking mirror. Don't be, I know we're going to have trolls. Shayne's going to have to be dealing with trolls tomorrow, worrying about race. But the reality is it's a real issue. It is. And it's unfortunate that we have to talk about it on a show called Keepin It 100. You think I'm going to skip over that? No. That's what we do here. I don't fucking kowtow to nobody. I'm just saying, Eric Bieniemy, I don't know his off the field issue. Shayne, I saw someone ask real quick. We got to play real quick. Drop again. I mean, real quick. Just real quick. What was Eric Bieniemy's off the field? Do you guys know?
There's sexual harassment.
Okay.
Sexual misconduct, and I believe
was this as a coach or as a player that this transpired?
He was, well, like I said, I can look it up. I don't want to.
Somebody in the chat said it was domestic violence when he was in college.
All right, so we're going to hold that.
That's what somebody in the chat said.
No. It wasn't just when he was in college.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't. No,
What
that's
happened
I
when
know
he was
that,
in the NFL too.
It had.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's
yeah.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, there's stuff from college to when he was in the pros. Sexual harassment and other things.
But there was something when he was coaching at Colorado where I believe there was a lot of players that were getting arrested for rape and stuff like that. So it's kind of a culture thing. You know what I mean? That was, and we've seen. Listen, it's not. I'm not saying that that's an Eric Bieniemy issue solely. We've seen it. Look at Rick Pitino and the allegations with him at Kentucky and what was going on. So it's not just a. I'm not trying to say that this was a Eric Bieniemy thing, but there's a lot of allegations there. Sexual misconduct. Phrase it however you want.
I mean, I can understand that being a concern because
especially
the reporters
post Ray McDonald.
Drudge that shit.
Yeah.
They're going to drudge that shit. You had Ray McDonald. You had the other guy. What was his name? Oh, man. Remember he was going crazy? Yeah, issue.
He was actually playing well there for a while,
the
too.
defensive tackle who's
former Dallas Cowboy. Former Dallas Cowboy.
Jay Ratliff.
Jay Ratliff. There you go.
He had like 4 sacks in the first half that one game, remember?
Holy shit. I was so excited.
Yeah.
And then, let me just go back to Watson for real quick, and then I'll say this. That was my concern, is that at the time, race was going to lead into the evaluation. Because it was so clear to me, the history and the Bill Parcells philosophy of what have you done in college, beating the fucking Darth Vader, the evil empire, no offense, Shayne, in Alabama, taking that and winning those games in a fashion where he was the superhero.
Yeah.
And you didn't even fucking meet with him. That was the part for me that I said, this is beyond comprehension that Ryan Pace and company had this guy not even fucking sit down and talk with him. And let me tell you this. Go on Twitter. Someone shared it with me. Watson himself has tweeted out that fact that the Bears did not even sit down with me. So there is something in there.
Kevin Fishbane said that that's not true. that the Bears 100% did talk. Yes, but Phil, you have to remember there was a lot of blowback to Deshaun Watson on that when he said that. Yes, the Kevin Fishbane said that the Bears 100% met with Deshaun Watson and sat down with him. It probably wasn't
combine. It's under that umbrella. That's not what Watson's talking about. That's in the fucking process of going
Deshaun Watson said he never at any point talked to anybody from Chicago, and he took a lot of blowback because it wasn't true. They even brought up quotes from Deshaun Watson talking about sitting down with Chicago Bears. Yeah, so like I said, it's not. Listen, I understand. Everybody's pissed, and I get it, and I know we're going. We all know that the Bears should have. Bears shouldn't have drafted Deshaun Watson. They should have drafted Patrick Mahomes. He was the number 2 guy on their thing. I mean, so you're actually making a mistake by saying that they should have drafted Deshaun Watson. Because if you're going to go back with the hindsight, take the better quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? So
and the guy who was ranked neck and neck on their board, which is why they didn't talk to Deshaun Watson.
I'm not defending the move at all. It's Phil. We've been over it and rehashed it a million times, but Deshaun was called out immediately on Twitter with facts in articles where he was quoting things. The Bears.
Fox want Watson. He was the only one that was
Fox. John Fox. That was his guy.
Fox and Ragone, I believe, right?
That's
Fox,
right. Yes.
Fox, who comes from the Bill Parcells tree. Anyway, we got it out. We talked about it. We kept it 100 there. I think we can move on from this. I know fans.
And that's the thing. I think it's important. Like I said, we've beaten this into the ground, and we killed the horse, and then we beat the horse some more, and like I said, we have the Senior Bowl coming up, and all of that, and it's I think it's really time to change the focus, and I'm sick of looking back at 2017. Yeah, it's a big part of why we're here where we are today, but rehashing it, and we know what they should have done.
Speaking of Senior Bowl, Shane, apparently our guy is looking good there. The 3 of us, 3 amigos, we're perfect timing here. Mac Jones apparently can do it without the talent at Alabama. Again, it's just practice, but I really like Mac Jones. But
we're going to be. Matt Rule said that got me giddy. He's like, that guy's. He said that guy's just an alpha. He comes in and everybody just starts to follow his lead, and that's the total Homer meatball guy in me. Like
that stuff matters, though, Cars. In a situation like that.
Think about Anthony Miller and fucking Javon Wims. The way they
he had
an alpha like Tom Brady. That shit would never get the fuck off the field. Like
hell, if you had a Quentin, right? You had a good offensive line or an Olin that'd be like, you don't want to do it? All right, fuck you, I'll handle this. That's exactly what it would be.
Yeah, and listen, I think Mac Jones is getting paid. Everybody, you will see how he does, not playing with the talent at Alabama, or going up against better talent at the Senior Bowl. He played against better talent every day in Alabama. He beat out the number 1 quarterback recruit in the nation by a pretty wide margin, because just what Carr said, he's a guy that walked into the locker room and none of it was too big for him. And you see today a guy that everybody likes in Louis Riddick. What does that say? Mac Jones could not have had a better day than he did today at Senior Bowl practice. Total command of every play he participated in. He threw the ball with exceptional accuracy. Struggled day one, and I'm sure there's going to be people in the chat saying that he struggled day one. Listen, you're playing with a whole new fucking setup. You're playing with players that you've never even fucking played catch with. You're taking a snap from a new center. You're in new surrounding. All of that stuff matters.
New terminology. Yep.
It's day to day. Is he getting better? You cannot teach this kid's accuracy. You're not going to outsmart him on the football field.
That's
what it's all about.
Tape never lies.
And
I love his accuracy. And in fact, 2 weeks we're gonna have Mark Schofield joining us. We're gonna be talking about a lot of these quarterbacks, obviously getting in depth with Mark about this quarterback draft class as well as the free agents here on the Tape Never Lies Network. A little teaser. That's in 2 weeks. What is that? February 10th? I don't know, whatever that is. That Wednesday.
Be the 10th.
So, yep, Mark is going to be joining us. So if you like draft talk, you're going to love that. All right, I think we covered it all. We got a little Senior Bowl talk in there. Again, there's no script, guys. When you're listening to this show, we keep it 100. That's what we do. Claudio, Shayne, are you ready to get into this? We're only doing one tweet tonight, a positive.
No, I got two. We got two good tweets. No bad ones.
Positive tweets. Claudio, I'm ready.
Closing out January on a positive note. I'm even getting my Series X delivered tomorrow. It's all good, man.
Hashtag first world problems.
Yeah, that's right.
Hashtag Oculus. I ordered the Oculus. It's coming because my boy's birthday's tomorrow. So the Oculus was the number one thing on the list. We couldn't get it. Then I found it at Walmart. I missed the next day delivery for the birthday cars, but it's coming on Friday. Anyway. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Draft Dr. Phil dropping the ball with a late birthday present. Yeah.
Exactly. We've started a movement on TTNL. Don't buy anything Bears until Millhouse is gone. What other network or show keeps it 100, stands by the tape, no narratives, and produces original fucking songs? It's the smartest man on the Tape Never Lies Network. And this is a change. It's positive. Tweets of the week in January.
Did you guys know that we should have drafted Deshaun Watson? Just a little breaking news.
Whoa, where's the breaking news call? Oh.
Now we're going to
all the way in the Philippines. Sorry. Wow.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to throw this up here. Will Letts at William_Lights, however you say it, was replying to Phil's boy PFF Brad. And this is what I brought up with Chris Emma. And here's the actual list. I had this convo with a buddy recently. Talented quarterbacks under 30 in the AFC. Mahomes, Watson, Allen, Jackson, Herbert, Mayfield, Carr, Burrow, maybe Tua. And assuming the draft goes predictably, Lawrence, Fields, and Wilson all could be in the AFC. The NFC, Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray. There's no way.
Young.
No, under 30. And there's no way that you can look at that. That doesn't mean that you're not a competitor. It means you're a fucking smart person. I mean,
I want to go. Listen, quarterbacks, leaders of quarterbacks want to win rings, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at this and you look at the NFC, you see a much clearer path to a longer run championship run in the NFC than you do in the AFC. Because going against Josh Allen and Mahomes, I mean, yeah, you want to compete and you want to see them in the Super Bowl, not in the AFC conference games or the AFC championship.
Yeah, and I mean, those teams are built on, Buffalo impressed me. I mean, they were an aggressive team all year long until the game against the Chiefs, and then they decided to fuck it, let's beat them with field goals, which I will never understand that philosophy there. But it doesn't mean that you're not a competitor when you look at that. I mean, if I can get myself a clear path to the fucking NFC Championship game year after year, because listen, at some point, Father Time is going to catch Tom Brady. It's going to fucking happen. This kid's 25 years old.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson. Aaron Rodgers is 36.
painted my nails and you told me to put the sparkles underneath.
That stuff is 100% a factor when you're picking your
sparkles or the
put sparkles in my nails.
Yeah.
the sparkles ruined the fucking championship for him. Hopefully she wears sparkles every time we play from now on, or not wear the sparkles. So.
Yeah, and this will bring us right back to Sparkles the pig there that you're just showing, and Aaron Rodgers. His State Farm sent out a tweet after the Packers lost the NFC Championship game. We will no longer be giving Aaron Rodgers a discount. Fuck that loser. So that was from at State Farm. So.
I painted my nails and you told me to put the sparkles underneath.
That's gonna haunt me tonight.
There I am. Look at me.
See, that's why Phil was 5'8" in college. It was all
the
hair.
Yeah.
5'10" was the list on the fucking.
Oh,
program.
so you did the speaks, the
I didn't put
spikes,
that on
and the
there.
hair. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
they measured me in cleats. That's what they did.
5'10".
That's what they put in the program. It's hilarious. Even I laughed at that. They always did that, though. Okay.
So
Break me
Phil,
down.
those
Yes.
are my good tweets of the week.
Amazing. He's taking a change. He's doing a change.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
I like how it slows down a little bit. Jeez.
I feel so bad for Greg.
See,
someone check in on. Can you
eat Taco Bell for breakfast, man? You can look at this. He's got the rocking body there. Greg does. Kids look good.
Rocking body.
Flowing locks. The long flowing locks are just fantastic.
Long flowing locks. Listen, I gotta say this now. Little business side, Shayne. We are at 597 patrons. We are almost at our goal of 600. If you're not a patron yet, this show here, every Saturday, me and my father are going to be breaking down the tape. Like chop, right chop, here. Chop. See him chop, chop. And then he lunges. And when you lunge, you're leaving your feet. So we're talking about Sam Mustafa here. And you see this with Sam a lot because I don't think just randomly put this up, so I have no core strength or the lower body strength to go after that backer and aggressively make contact with him. Like a lot of zone concepts is I'm going to this spot knowing that you're going to meet me there like a train. And he takes choppy steps. Watch him here. And now he gathers and lunges. And when you do that, you tend to lose. We can't help ourselves. Look. Well, I was hoping there would be more of my dad in that part. I apologize. That's a true story. I just put it up there because we want you to sign up, become a patron. If you like that kind of coaches clinic, we're going to be breaking down this weekend Akeem Hicks. We're going to be breaking down Akeem Hicks. And then next week, we're going to have Steve Edwards, former Bear, joining us. And he's going to be helping break down both guards. Alex Bars, a bunch of guards. James Daniels, Cody Whitehair. We're going to be breaking down the guards. So sign up, become a patron. We're at $5.97. Shayne has said, right? That's right. Shayne has said, number 600, you get to jump in and join us gangsters.
What's up, guys?
That's going to be you coming in on the show. What's up, guys? For the entire show of your choice. Obviously, we're going to have pop-up shows. Claudio, if you can put that scroll, just www.thetapeneverlies.com. Sign up, become a patron. And we're going to have a huge draft coverage. We got some announcements we're going to be making next week about some of our coverage there on the draft side, focusing in on the Chicago Bears with these two guys. And we have some really good stuff planned for the draft as well as free agency, live pop-up shows. You might see us this weekend talking about, obviously, I think we'll be doing a Super Bowl show, getting you ready for everything that the offseason has to offer. We'll pop on, maybe talk a little bit about the Senior Bowl and some of the standouts and the things that we're hearing there. So sign up right there at the bottom. Become a patron. I think you know the network by now. Every week we're here doing our thing, keeping it 100.
The Factor said, he just put that he wants to know when the draft coverage is going to officially start kicking off next week.
Yeah, we're going to be kicking it off next week and really starting to get into, like I said, we're going to have a big announcement next week. I'm not going to say it tonight. Keeping it 100 next week. We'll announce some things and we'll be breaking down the draft and doing live breakdowns, just like you saw with X's with the O's, breaking down the tape, talking about these players like nobody else there, focusing in on the Chicago Bears and their needs. What do you guys think the Bears should do? He's going to play right guard. That's where I would put him, or center. Depends on where he feels most comfortable. Obviously, before he had some issues, but you saw that with his vocal, with his, using his voice and being that guy, where Sam has been the standout, as you heard. But James Daniels went and worked on his body. Really did, and his craft. So it was unfortunate that we lost James Daniels because I thought he was the best offensive lineman, obviously, and you saw the dip by far. Exactly. Also, real quick, before we go to shout outs, wrap up this show, if you haven't, you got to get some swag. Look at this guy. I think he's in the chat. Donnie, you were in the open. Buy some swag. Let me know. You could put your number, your patron number, like Jeff Burton, number 2, Richard Gordon's number 73. You could put that on your shirt. I think John Centro put his up. Look at this guy, keeping it 100. Shayne, is that my guy, Mike?
Yeah, that's Mr. Michael Imes. Is that how you say his last name? He's the guy that every single thought that comes into his brain, he has a post on our Facebook message boards. Then there's this asshole.
There it is. Hey, y'all, we got the trophy right here. Mitch Trubisky is the winner.
Hey! Good job! You were already on my one sitcom. Just wasn't sure, but your everlasting hate towards me gave me
For those of you
crickets
listening
is the part that hits the hardest for me, and that's just
that is Greg Bragg's friend of the show.
The crickets weren't his listeners. The crickets were there's nobody in the stands, so I wasn't taking a shot. He's got at least.
Oh well, then now that's not the favorite part of that clip for me.
Yes, Greg has no fans in the stands. I love. Obviously, we've brought him up a lot because you can recognize our love for Greg Braggs. No offense, Mike Imes. Look at this beauty. Lady Bear rocking that TTNL swag. Go over there. Where's the scroll for that? I mean, Heather and Chris Sandlin are pissed at Claudio. Taking them over to the patron side. Get over there. Get yourself some swag. Send the picture. Send it to me. These guys, if you go back and watch the open, it's worth the 9 minutes and 46 seconds that I put into the editing of the open. Go over there, watch that real quick. real quick, get yourself some swag. There it is. TTNL superiorembroidery.net/TTNL. Get yourself some TTNL swag. Rock it, take a picture. And that's where we're going to go with that. I guess shout outs coming up next. What a show.
If you just look at the DVOA, Phil, you know that the Bears just aren't good enough. And if you look at the numbers, on play action, you don't even need to run the ball. You just can do play action without running the ball. My name is Cars.
You know, he did so well in the beginning there. He really did. Sounded like for the first time he knew what he was talking about the game of football. So I'm very proud of him.
Don't you think he just heard DVOA and got all excited and was like, I'm making a video?
It's like, wait a minute, that sounds like a term I don't know what it means. So it must be smart.
I'm going to change my Twitter at PFF Greg. I'm so smart.
PFF Greg. This is that point in the show. Next week, I promise, the original song produced and he performed in it by our guy, Cool Kennedy, will make its debut next week. I'm excited about it. It'll lead into it. That's what we do here. Everything off
No
script.
merch through Patreon. It's through our website.
Merch through Patreon. It's only right there at the bottom. Jamie over there.
And we're doing that really for you guys, because if you're doing it through Superior Embroidery, the link that we're giving you there, it's because we've actually hands-on, tested the,
Right.
pretty much everything. The stuff through Patreon, I've heard is, the quality is not there and you're going to be paying a little bit more for it. Jamie and everybody that Alex has been working with through that, they've been really open to all suggestions, and they didn't design a hat that looked like we were Miami Dolphins fans. So the upside has been fantastic.
So the link is at the bottom there, Stu Dog 81. So yeah, get over there. I'm going to debut my new hoodie next week that I got. I'm sending out some swag to some of the guests. I thought it went out. I can't thank Ace, Alex Acevedo, Heather Sandlin, and Chris Sandlin enough for their hard work with the swag shop. There's Cherie. She could tell you the hoodies are great quality. All of it is really good quality. That's what we want. And I know Shayne is a very big stickler for that. So we wanted to make sure the fans are all about that. I think we're going to make a traveling jersey for the TTNL. We're going to do a lot of fun things. But yeah, the draft stuff is going to start off next week. And then we'll start our live draft shows on Patreon. There was something else I wanted to say about there is a patron code for till the end of February.
Patreon 20.
Patreon 20. So if you're a patron and it checks off that you are, you can go over to the swag shop, put that code in there, and you get 20% off your swag merchandise. Look at Claudio rocking his t-shirt there. TTNL.
And you got my scarf.
Turn around. Oh, yeah. Claudio's mom made him a scarf.
Mama Dukes made a scarf. You got to show it off. It's just
there you go.
The rules.
Can you put it on for us so we can see?
Oh, you won't. I'm going to tell my mom you did that, Shayne. She's not going to be happy with you. She took a week to make this thing. A week. But check this out. Look at this.
That is awesome.
Isn't that fucking great?
That is awesome.
It's awesome. I wore it out to dinner when we went out with Phil.
Yeah.
Make him jealous.
He fucking wore that out. He kept saying how comfortable he was. So comfy.
It was a cold night. It was a cold night.
It was freezing. We had a great meal at Barcelona. in West Hartford. West
Yeah, it
Hartford
was.
downtown.
Who had
Met
broccoli?
Bears fans, huh?
Did you eat broccoli?
No.
My name's Shayne and I'm gonna screen record. Oh, everybody's gonna think this is so funny one day when I show it on the Tape Never Lies Network.
Is this guy for real? What is that?
That's Greg Braggs.
That is
She
a
can
walking
start-
dare commercial.
It's a nightmare right there.
She could start selling those, Claudio.
She
HL
could.
Priest will
You know
buy
what?
one.
I asked her that, but for real, it took her a lot of time to make. So not gonna happen. One of a kind.
You have to wear it every show when you're
Every
intro
show.
from now on. When you
Well, the
come
bear
in,
will be wearing it. Gerlocker wears it.
Gerlocker.
It's Gerlocker.
Hey, we're gonna have to take a vote if Claudio. But anyway, it's been
All
a
right, want
great
the music?
show.
Let's go.
Yes, it's been a great show. You had a lot of fucking talk about the quarterback tonight, which, listen, that's going to be the talk of the town when it comes to this. Obviously, if you didn't see the Open, you got to go back and watch the Open. That's what we're known for. Keeping it 100. We talk everything. We keep it 100. That's what talking about the hard things as well as the easy things. I can't thank our guy, Chris Emma, enough for coming on the show, bringing it and keeping it 100 with us. I didn't know what to expect, but he really...
Yeah, neither did I. I was a little worried there. I saw him in the green room, and I'm like, oh, Chris doesn't look like he's smiling, but I think he was just checking out the territory.
He came in during the Open and left. That wasn't a good sign. And he came back strong. He's like, oh, I know who I'm fucking with now. That's probably what it is. Anyway, Cars, do you have any shout outs you want to send?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you. No, I don't.
You're
I
good.
don't even know what's going on right now. So no.
I know, but
The edibles.
I'm not going to
hitting
get into
you.
Cars.
Edibles
but I just
kicking
wanna-
in.
I want to hug Cars tonight. This fucking guy.
Is he okay?
He's good.
Something I don't know.
Motherfucker needs to write a movie.
Yeah,
That's
that's
all I was gonna say.
Boy, there's a twist. There's new information.
yes. No,
Oh, my
and
own.
I definitely am not shouting out Greg Braggs. I want to make an emphasis that has never happened. This will never happen. You will never be my shout out ever. Okay.
For
I'm
the
good.
record.
For the record.
For
According
the
to the
record.
Geneva Convention, I can say whatever it is I want to say. And sorry,
There
go
you
on.
go. There you go. Claudio.
Well, I gotta shout out my mom.
Is
Obviously,
one of your
for making
daughters
this.
one of your daughters not getting a shout out?
No, she got her phone back. My daughter got her phone back.
Okay.
She's-
How long did
she's
you
good.
take
They're
it
all-
away? How long did
What's
you
that?
take it? How long did she not have it? Like a week?
A week.
Was that hard for you to stick to your guns? Are you that
No,
dad?
I've taken away from her for a month before.
Oh,
my
really?
wife's the one that gives in.
Am
So
I allowed
she's
to
like,
share a little bit of Claudio and his wife at the dinner table?
Oh Lord.
It
Yeah,
became a debate that went on. It was,
well,
I go, we
it's
got
an
to
ongoing
film this
debate,
keeping
but
it 100.
the ground rules are set. She gives
Claudio
me an
versus
attitude. She
wife.
crosses a line and gets taken away again. But
Parenting tennis table was set. Me and Steph
know,
are
it's-
watching it. You know how you watch tennis? Like, that's all I'll say.
I was like, pass the sangria.
We
Let's
had
make this real.
two pitchers of sangria that night.
And then one more shout out.
Yes.
My dad, he got the vaccine shot. So shout out to the VA in West Haven. Got him
Nice.
got him in there. So very happy about that.
Nice. That's something you gotta be happy about.
Yeah.
Shayne, you have any shout outs?
Yeah, we always have shout outs here. I got something I was gonna read. Yeah. Amy Stacy just DM me, and I'll share this. Obviously, I don't think she'll mind that she said her brother is home from the hospital. still waiting on surgery, but he's doing better, and she's thankful for that. So, you know, we always, our listeners and our patrons, we're always, you know, sounding boards for everybody. And like we said, it's all about family here. We, you know, Phil and I talked to a guy this past weekend. You know, we can bust balls, and, you know, I even talked to Greg earlier. You know, people saw me busting Greg's balls with the Mitch Trubisky pictures, and had people reaching out to me, and they're like, "Man, what's going on with you and Greg? This like came out of nowhere." And I'm like, guys, you know,
every day,
pump your fucking brakes. You know what I mean? Jesus, Greg and I were talking on the phone today about it and just laughing. And it's, you know, if we're not busting your balls, then you should worry. That's why I'm not talking about Swanky. You know what I mean? You should worry. Sleep with one eye open. Kidding, Swanky.
Not really.
But no, it's all about family first here, and like I said, we're thankful for all of you guys. We want to get that up to 600 again on Patreon. So you're very, very close. I don't know if we've made any movement, Phil, since you announced it. I'll look here right in real time. We're still at 597. Whoever number 600 is, you're going to be able to come on to a show, stay for the whole thing. We may even let you behind the scenes, and when Claudio starts talking, we might let you drop.
Yeah,
you never know. We'll give you full control, maybe even. So,
Claudio.
But, no, we got a lot of big things in store. The draft stuff is coming up. It's not. I don't think we're going to get into it too deep here starting next week. We're going to keep it kind of surface level, and because we know that not everybody is into it as much as we are. So we're going to, you know, this is quite a long journey that we got to. This off season is long, and we don't want to wear you guys out with getting into this, because this is something, once this kicks off, Cars and Phil and I, this really eats up the hours in our day studying prospects over and over and over again, and we enjoy it. But we want all of you guys, you know, here with us enjoying it. So I don't think you're going to find any better coverage anywhere. So just shout out to everybody. If you're not a patron, please go over there, check it out. It's 23 cents a day, you know, and you're not locked in. Try it for 30 days. It's going to cost you $7. And if it's not for you, then you can bounce and not be a patron anymore. And we won't hold it against you. You can still come and watch us every Wednesday night on Keepin It 100. So do your thing. Shout out to everybody. Even Greg Braggs. I'll shout him out, Cars.
Oh, you're the worst.
Yeah.
You're the
Greg
worst.
feels better now.
Shout out to me. I'm getting my Series X tomorrow, so I'm kind of excited about that. Even though I probably never get to play it because I don't have any time. But, you know, it's fun knowing that it's there.
I want to shout out my sons, Tate and Devin. And
birthday boys. Tomorrow they'll be 7 years old. I can't believe it, you know. And I gotta say this, the experience of being a father while they learn football, and the rivalry and the passion of being a fan of the Bears. You know, there's points where you're like, I have to call Child Protective Services because I'm doing them dirty.
Probably, honestly, we're keeping it 100. Yeah, you know, yeah. The way the last 21 years have gone. Yeah,
exactly. But see them cheer against the Packers, it was just amazing. And David Kaplan sent a nice video because I put it on my Facebook. It's just great stuff. I mean, I love the game of football, and being a dad to boys is a completely different experience. And Claudio and you, Shayne, have both got to meet my boys, and they're just characters. And I'm excited about their birthday tomorrow.
Where would they develop some sort of character from? No idea.
Exactly.
No idea.
Yeah, Tate's very humble. Very humble.
It's Wendy's influence, right, Phil?
Exactly. My mother-in-law tried to dissuade him from liking the Bears. You like whoever. like the Ravens.
Oh no.
That happened. Claudio was there that day. I'm
No,
like, what are you doing?
I went through that. With you, with her being from Europe, and they don't get the, they would look at me in a football jersey on a Sunday getting ready for the Bears game, and her whole family would laugh, and I'm like, no, that's what we do. We put the hoodie on, do whatever you do. The whole competition part of it, just
exactly,
they don't have it. And they're like, why don't you just let Riley choose his own team? I'm like, yeah, that's not going to fucking happen. No, that's
no.
It wasn't
Phil, what are you
happening.
going to do the day Devin rebels and says, I'm a Packer fan? What do you do?
I don't think he'll do.
Smoke weed every day.
Is that what you do? Is that what you do?
100%. That fixes a lot of issues. Let me tell you, that takes care of a lot of things.
I want to thank Chris Sandlin and Heather Sandlin for helping me get them. I bought them Roquan Smith, NFL or Chicago Bears related. I didn't pay money for them. Roquan and David Montgomery. So they'll be getting those jerseys. Tate wants Montgomery. Dev is more of a backer. He knocks people on their ass, makes his dad proud. But anyway, I want to shout them out for their birthday. You guys in the chat have been phenomenal. It's unbelievable. Over 200 and something of you jumping in. Not all of you have to join in. That's fine. But to see some of you standouts like Jackal, The Factor One, Rich Gordon, Tom Boson, my band Selms from Australia earlier, Hector, Thunder Girl, where's my guy? Edwin Lopez, Cars' number 2 fan, Jeff Burton, your number 1, Logan Frost, HL Priest, and obviously Stu Dog and Lady Bear, Cherie. You guys have been tremendous tonight. George, my boy from the West Coast. John Centro was in the open with his swag stuff. Tony, even Tony. Sergio, Saucedo. I see you guys sharing our show. Just that's all I ask. Just go out of your way to share the show and let other people know. That's the word of mouth to me is even more important than anything. So I wanted to shout out Brennan McLennan. How do I say his name? Where is his correct spelling? Sorry. John McNabb. I want to shout him out. Otis Big O, numero uno. Levon D. Lane III. Troy Rayford. Where's my man Jay tonight? I didn't see him tonight. I thought he was going to be in there. Jay Bonds. Angelo Marino, Shayne. Angelo Marino.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I think you might see Angelo next week. My boy Steve Edwards, Alyssa Brian Chambers. I saw you, Eugene Cock. He sent me the Koch or Cock. I don't know. I like Cock. Did you see the guy, the Bears fan?
Wait, please tell me somebody.
It's Coach or Cock.
Alex, 30 seconds around grab what Phil just said. I grab it.
If you watch the Open, his daughter's boyfriend is the Packers fan who throws and says he's going to be a Bears fan. He sent me that footage. Sonny Parrish, Andrew Brown, congratulations again on your son. Some new patrons, H. Radita, Robert Cook, my man Mike Mesner, Noel Padilla down in Miami, James Rossetti, Kevin Kaufhold, Drew Klein, Angelo DeLuca, no relation to Marino.
You see our time? We had. I was so proud of where the show was going, and Phil fucking blew right past it.
I'm almost done.
Blew right past it, Claude.
I got a couple more shout outs
Real
and
quick.
I'm done. Mark Egan, real quick. Mark Egan, Adrian Sharp, Dakota Harper, Lee Martin. I see you, Lee, down in the palm trees and all that shit. William Tyrone Jackson, Logan Frost, and last but not least, my boy Chris Jackal, who's been in the chat all night. Much love. Josh E., I can't forget you.
Don't forget Eric Alley.
Don't forget Eric Adley. Eric Alley. Get your swag on. Get your Tape Never Lies stuff. What a great show. Gotta thank, once again, our guy, Chris Emma, jumping on next week. I can't remember who I don't know if we have a guest next week, but we will get somebody to come on. We might have an announcement. That'll be our guest. But hey, it is what it is. A lot of fun tonight. Shayne thought we were getting out of here earlier.
Gangsters, what's up, guys? Gangsters, what's up, guys?
Of course. Last but not least, guys, I want to thank you. Make it a great show on a Wednesday in the off season. So much not on the script that we went, and that's it.
2 things I taught my son and all my children. You always surround yourself with good people, and the tape never lies.